Hey, yo, good people of the internet. No Cooldown is back in the building. Hope you all have been doing well, but it's time to talk these games with one of the best damn crews on the interwebs. You know what I'm saying? Glad to be here with you for episode 102. We are back in the building. We're well on the trail to episode 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, and beyond. Of course, I am that man Trip. Hope everybody's been doing well. Hope you've been absorbing the start of the gaming rush that is the fall of 2024. There's been so much that has been dropping. So much is on the way. Gaming is in full swing. If it wasn't before, it damn sure is now. And on the vines with me, of course, is my podcast partner in crime. He is one of the, you know what I'm saying, the Emperor's greatest assets as of this Friday. He's one of the custodian's most devout soldiers, man. He's one of the most devout members. He's in the building. Warhammer Space Marine 2 is out, and so he's out on the streets, crushing bugs, crushing aliens, doing what it do. It's when easy. What's going on, dog?
Chilling, man. I took a break from my crusades to come here and talk these video games with you.
I'm very gracious, honestly. I'm very thankful for that. It takes a lot to really get yourself out of the wave, the feeling that is crushing enemies and crushing everything at your feet, hordes and hordes of people. I know how long you've been waiting for that one, so we appreciate you taking the time out, good sir.
No, of course, anything for the podcast.
We appreciate it, gay. You know what I'm saying? And make sure y'all who are taking the time out to listen to this podcast, we appreciate you. We love you. And make sure you go rate this 5 stars on all platforms that have audio ratings and all that stuff available. Spotify for podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. Again, we're on YouTube at youtube.com/@NoCooldown. Everywhere else at NoCooldown Podcast, except for Twitter. And this time, I did try to change the ad on Twitter. I did, but I couldn't have more than 15 characters, so we're just stuck with No Cooldown Pod. I'm sorry, guys. It's just how it goes. So
thanks, Elon.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man, dick. But we're just gonna close the chapter on that. I tried my best. It just wasn't meant to be on that platform, so it's gonna be No Cooldown Pod on Twitter and No Cooldown Podcast everywhere else. We have a lot of news we want to get into this week. There has been so much stuff that we have been behind the 8 ball on, just on the 8 ball on, been talking about. Again, I came back from vacation like last week, and we're getting right into the swing of things. The fall season's about to be stacked, and we have news, updates, games, impressions, all the stuff we want to get into. So without further ado, let's get right into it. When is you ready?
Born ready,
man. Let's talk about it. First and foremost, we got to talk about the biggest probably happening that was going down in the past week. Let's talk about the now deceased Concord. Yes, the game from Firewalk Studios and PlayStation, the hero shooter / live service game that was, again, had a reveal last year in 2023, had another, big rollout, or somewhat big rollout, with a 3-month span from showcase season down to August 23rd. And within 2 weeks of this game, coming out and releasing and stuff, it only had about 25,000 unit sales. Only 25,000 units. And in that span of time from release to September 6th, they announced that the game would be shutting down on exactly 2 weeks since its release. We got it 11 days in, we got that whole notification and stuff, and we just talk about it. It was a huge thing. This is probably one of the most one of the fastest crashes of a game from its launch to its death. Probably the most high profile one as well at this stage, like with the speed and just how much went into this game, and it's a first party PlayStation title. It's probably one of the biggest cases we've seen of just like a flop in that case. And it's wild. They issued out refunds for the game. There's been so much that's been going around with it, but I just want you to break down on how your thoughts and how you felt about the crash of Concord, man.
I think it's kind of sad. So I thought the game looked interesting, right? I think it's a game that's just 3 years too late. And it's not really even their fault, because it's not like they started working on this game, 2016, like right when Overwatch launched.
Yeah,
they could not have possibly known we would be burnt out by this genre before they were able to come out with a game. You know what I'm saying? At the time, if you would have told me when Overwatch was at its peak and you said, hey, do you want to make a hero shooter? I'd have been like, hell yeah, bro, we can make a hero shooter. Obviously that shit works. Fast forward to now, and yeah, man, it's a sad sight to see. I honestly cannot tell you what the problem with Concord was because I wasn't even able to really play it. I did not touch the beta, and had I known the game was going to shut down 2 weeks after release, I would have gave it a fair swing. But from what I saw, it seemed like an okay shooter. But I guess we're at a point where we don't really want to pay for shooters anymore, right? I think that's kind of one of the biggest hurdles that it's going through, and I also think that this is like one of those games that like got sacrificed, if that makes any sense. And like I know you could like bear with me, y'all, because it makes sense in my head. What I mean by sacrifice is that it is a game the same way people were tracking Helldivers 2 and its success is the same way people were tracking Concord and its failure. Like I've never seen IGN publish a story about a game launching badly. I could be wrong. I'm sure it's happened before.
Battlefield, but not like
like this.
That always happens to Battlefield. This is like a brand new. This is like the slate is clean for this studio. The slate is clean for this game, but out the gate it was that, which is kind of crazy.
No, and it's not even because Battlefield, they would make a thing about how buggy or how awful the launch is.
Yeah.
But they never were like, this is a game that works and is good. Nobody fucking cares though, because that's what I was getting from them, which was like, hey, this game has horrible numbers coming out the gate. This game has and it's something I've also noticed. It's something that they have started doing a little bit more, which is I think the problem. A lot of people across the board have been making content shitting on games, and it's starting to become very normalized of being like, yo, I am going to make a living off of shitting on people's works. I don't like that shit at all, to be honest with you. Don't get me wrong, ass games are ass games. I'll talk about a game that's ass all the time, but it's starting to get to a point where I don't really think I need to, because if the game has even one flaw, there's already 17 TikToks made by random people shitting on it, and it's starting to get real nasty. What's the like? And again, I protect devs that deserve it, and I say that like I will always go to bat for them until they are shown to be people that are disingenuous or not good. And the reason I do that is because, let's face it, motherfuckers aren't getting death threats for working at Costco. You know what I'm saying? Like these people are like just trying to make a living, and they got to deal with some crazy ass people. So like I'll never shit on a dev for their decisions or whatever, unless it's something that I would disagree with you. I'll give valid criticism. But like the way people will go out of their way to hate on this game, and I think there was a dev from Concord that made a fucking dumbass tweet where he was just like, you talentless fucks don't know shit about, like I was just like, yo, he was snapping. But then also when all you do is wake up and seeing people excited for your game's downfall, shit, I couldn't be a good person, you know, bro. I could not do it. I could not do it. Like the thing was like, I saw it on TikTok. It was like, and I don't want this to be the main point of the story, but like the dude was like, yo, it sucks that after 5 years of working on something like with all your heart, it's ending up to be like this. And then somebody tweeted under, it's like, yeah, you know, it just sucks. It is what it is. I'm sorry that you had to release at such a volatile time or whatever the fuck, or something like that. And then he started being like, now you talentless fucks are the reason. And I'm like, whoa, I get the anger, brother, but that's not gonna help your case. They're looking to make you snap. They're looking to make you look bad. And it's just tough, because if I was on the Concord team, I just couldn't do it. I would even switch jobs. And it's not because I think you guys made a bad game, but it's because like I haven't seen somebody treated like this in a bit. I haven't seen somebody treated like this in a long while, bro. And it's tough for them, man. It's tough.
And I think you actually put the nail on the head. And I didn't really figure. It's like they were definitely. It feels like the game just was the wrong place, wrong time. We got made an example of in a lot of different regards. And again, this is what I feel on paper. And let's just get this plain up right now. On paper, I think this is a quality, actually very quality experience. Again, you pay some money up front, but you got no necessarily battle pass, free content. You get access to everybody, whatever. The weekly cutscene things, I don't know what they were gonna, I don't know how long they were gonna keep that up or what consistency they could have provided with it. But the offering sounded enticing. You get weekly updates of story. You get the new maps, new content in a steady flow. You get the characters. The gameplay itself actually looked decent to me. For the people that played it, they said they enjoyed it. They actually put some innovative things in there. Again, a lot of people talked about how, you know, when you place down certain equipment and stuff like that, it can stay through the rounds and such. So a different complexion of how multiplayer games could run compared to what it usually is. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. These are good things. But I think overall, if you put this thing down on paper and list every quality and characteristic it has, I think in another point in time, this would have survived. This would have had a great rollout. This would have had whatever. But a multitude of variables have come in and absolutely ruined this thing. Again, like you said before, I think the timing was the biggest issue. I feel like, again, some people have said it's 8 years long in development. I think probably from concepting to the final product, it could be 8 years, but some people might say more around the range of 6, maybe 4 plus, like 5.5. I think anything over 4 is starting to get crazy if you're a multiplayer game, especially in this day and age where things move so quickly. So there's that. And again, when I'm talking about what went wrong, I think a lot of this blame has to start going towards the executives who keep pushing this through. And I'll get to other reasons in a bit, but for the time window, I really think that maybe at the turn of 2020 and 2021, if they couldn't get the game out by then, that probably would have been a good place to start reevaluating. Okay, what is Concord to us? What is Concord's offering going to be? What is it? And the fact that they kept pushing through might have been an indication of where not only Firewalk was at, but I think more pertinent to the case where Sony's mind state was at on continuing to push this project through. That's just my opinion, and I'll get to kind of the bigger reasoning with Sony in a second. I think again, like we said, the price point was kind of crazy. Episode 100, we talked about it with Struggle. He said that, again, that price point is crazy, and not having a battle pass, as beautiful as it sounds, sometimes they are, again, very effective retention tools, and they keep people locked into the game. They're evil, but they serve their purpose, and people are locked into those things. Unfortunately, some people who hate battle passes love battle passes because they do it all the time and they're involved in it. But I think when you look at the product itself, on paper, good offering, but I think people could not read into that as soon. And on the surface, they were seeing a product that maybe looks a little bit enticing, but the visuals, the aesthetics, they weren't astounding. They weren't groundbreaking. They were cool, but I don't think they were groundbreaking that really could have broke the mold in this sense. People could have grew into them and liked them, but I really don't think it was super catching into the eye where they're like, yo, this thing looks really great. People were kind of drawing those comparisons to Destiny and stuff, and then the connotation of Destiny is already negative overall in the gaming space, so kind of drawing that comparison is already a minus. And then on top of that, you hear hero shooter and you hear live service. Everybody's mind state automatically goes negative. We need to kill this. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying, well, most people, let's not say everybody, most people's mind state goes, yo, we've had enough live service games and we've had enough hero shooters. And the fact that both of those markets are so saturated at this point in time, it already put a sour taste in people's mouths. So when you combine, that lack of affinity towards this product because entering such a saturated market, on top of the fact that the visuals weren't groundbreaking or the gameplay wasn't groundbreaking or they didn't effectively communicate what makes this game so different from everybody else in that field, on top of, I think, the executive kind of push to really get a first party live service multiplayer game into their ranks. Because if you look at Sony, there's been so much uproar, especially since they lost Call of Duty's like prime marketing rights and prime exclusivity stuff to 30 days and all that crap to Xbox. Ever since that happened, I feel like it's been double overdrive to try and find a multiplayer experience that they can stick to their first party that will move units. They've been so desperate to find it, in my opinion, that I think that's what happened with the Bungie deal. I think they were so eager to get somebody in that could foster multiplayer that they were like, yo, let's get Bungie, and not knowing the problems that they had on that side, and they made a bet with them, and they kind of made it, again, in the end it was a safe bet because they eventually just absorbed them fully, but they took those terms that weren't exactly entirely favorable to Sony because they were like, yo, we just need a multiplayer. And through that, they were trying to go through what's it called, Last of Us Online factions, which got canceled because of the Bungie stuff. And they tried to say, yo, Destiny could be it, but Destiny had a terrible run of launches until the devs just got their hands on it and say, yo, let's close this out. And they put out a good product with the final DLC. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think Sony's desperation and continual push to try and get into a live service game and have something in their first party that covers that multiplayer gap in their first party, I think that was also something that pushed this thing through development into a time where I think, and we know at this point, it wasn't going to be received in the best light. those combination of factors, it effectively killed Concord. And I can tell you one thing that didn't kill Concord: the fact that it was whatever, a selection screen and DI and all that stuff like that. All you dweebs that are claiming this as some type of moral victory in this world of in this world that we live in, that it's a war against us, it's a war against the gamer culture because of DI. No, that had nothing to do with that, bro. So all you single cell organisms that somehow muster up the strength to play a game and do nothing else with your lives, I think you need to understand that it had nothing to do with the fact that there was any inclusivity, any pronoun usage, any of that stuff that contributed to the downfall of this game. Because I know these dumbasses have been going to town on it, and it annoys me. It kills me, because if you actually use critical thinking, you could come to these conclusions that, people, it doesn't matter whether there was, again, pronouns in there or not. You just can't. This game dropped into a time where nobody was willing to receive it, or most people weren't willing to receive it, except 25,000 people roughly, and about extra 2,000 from the beta, which might overlap a little bit, so it might not even be 27,000. So yeah. That was just my one. I need to make sure that was in there, because I know they've been claiming this as, this is our first big victory against DEI and gaming. And I'm like, bro, your favorite games more than likely have that shit in there, and you're gonna sit there and ignore that and try and push the stupid agenda. That's not the case. We need to actually talk about the real things that affect the state that we live in. And again, it just goes from the poor timing, the things that didn't break the mold and effectively communicate this game. Also, I would say sometimes PlayStation marketing, sometimes we have to have a conversation about PlayStation's marketing as well, because sometimes I feel like they just kind of drop games within a short 3-month window of marketing, and unless they're blockbuster things that everybody's been waiting for, they kind of get a push to the wayside, or they get the little wave off, have a couple commercials, have a couple of these. Maybe the allocation of funds, most of it went to the secret level TV show episode that Concord has, that's still going, and we could talk about that in a little bit on the tail end of this conversation. But I just think that the timing, the executive push, and the non-exceptional qualities and the communication of those qualities, or the failure to communicate what this game was really about and how it could be different, that's what really killed this game. And yeah, just the taste of the consumer. The consumer really did not want this. I know I didn't want this off rip. It looks like it's something I turned on. I'm like, actually, on paper, this actually looks really, really cool. But I know in a time where everybody's on Overwatch or Warzone or Fortnite or Apex or something, we have hit a actual top line limit. We're bubbling over the cup. The cup is overflowing with stuff that we're into. People have their interests. People have these things, and unfortunately, I think this is kind of like a race to the bottom, where there's not going to be much space left to really survive if you're not an extraordinary live service product, and you probably aren't even a hero shooter to begin with. I feel like again, and that just goes to a bigger problem with the industry at large. We can kind of circle back around to, but again, I feel like, does that sound fair to you? Those factors sound fair to you? Just the time, the executive push, again, just the product not really driving through to the people, and just being in the wrong spot in terms of what their subgenres are as an experience.
Yeah, I think so. And I also will agree with your marketing, what you said about the Sony marketing as well. And you know me, I hate long, overblown hype trains, right? That's one of my bigger pet peeves about video game marketing. But when it comes to a saturated market like shooters, I think maybe more time would have been beneficial, because it's hard to get somebody to lock in with a game. For example, look at the game, that Spectre game that Shroud is making, right? Yeah, that game is gonna have more lifespan than Concord, because it's been, not only say drawn out, but because they're always updating people and breaking down. Yeah, they're like, this is why you should play this game. This is why you're gonna like our game more than other games. Here's this, here's that, here's the third. By the time Concord was in beta, I had no idea of what this game even really was, because all I got was a cinematic trailer. And then I got the little gameplay afterwards, but it was it's a lot of information in one go, and then you're telling me oh yeah, the beta drops soon. It's just, unless you got some bangers coming out, it's going to be really hard to break into that space. But something like a Spectre that's been we've been in development for a bit, this is what we're doing here, this is what we're doing there, this is what we're doing on the other side, I'm like, okay, I'm understanding it. I'm seeing it a little bit more. Like, it's more of a, but like the fact that this game didn't even really get a chance to breathe, because I think that's really its biggest issue. That's my biggest issue with it. Is like, there was no chance for the game to really be itself, like to even fail, because it just kind of just failed. You know, like that's all really that happened is like the game dropped a week later. All right, you're done. Like that is crazy to me, because you could have left it even for another 2 or 3 weeks, but I guess they were just like, nah, we're done.
And I feel like this is interesting because, again, Sony probably poured a lot of money into this, but at some point during this game's development, did they not? Again, and this is why I think that Sony's executive push that marker, that quality, that characteristic of this case. That's why I think it's so important. I think that's why I really mentioned it. It's probably one of the leading cases, if not the leading case. You know, well, I'd say no, it's second. Behind the consumer taste, it's probably second or third. I would say that. But like at some point in their development, they're not seeing a new hero shooter game drop every week, a new live service game drop every week. It's like even if it was like 2021, say it's 2021, and you're still behind in development, you're still like years behind or whatever. And there's so much going on in the background. Oh, they're commissioning the secret level show. They're doing all this stuff. All these things are happening for Concord. And Sony's like, listen, we're too far along to fail. We're too far along to just stop and pivot. You guys are going to be in the show. We're going to put you in this thing. We're going to put you in that thing. And you got to be a live service that works. And I feel like they were trying to push it, maybe again because they had that gap, and because they're Sony, they're like, yo, something's probably gonna shake. We'll see what happens. But I think more than likely they believed that if they just pushed it out, something will shake and people will stick to this and people will find something in it. Not to say this is a bad experience, because on paper and what people were getting their impressions of, it was actually solid. But the consumer taste and the overwhelming majority of opinion at this stage, people are already into their things. Casual gamers, they have their games, and it's going to be tough for them to find new homes. The hardcore gamers, they already have seen 8 million live service games and stuff like that. I feel like Sony might not have had their ear to the streets, or even if they did, they listened to their interests more, because probably the need on their end to get something live service down the pike and on their books. I think they're really, really looking for that, man. And I know there was that report that came out maybe a few weeks ago, maybe a month and a half ago or something like that. I think some people said that, maybe it was Jeff Grubb or somebody, I cannot remember off the top of my head, but they were like, yeah, Sony executives were pissed that the Last of Us online game got canceled. They were pissed when Bungie did that. When Bungie was like, yo, it probably shouldn't happen, bro. And then Naughty Dog just canceled it and they moved on to other things. They said some Sony bigwigs were pissed. And I feel like that corroborates some of the sentiment here, that they're like, yo, we need an online game. We need a live service game for our first party, bro. We don't got no Call of Duty to push around and stuff on our platform and get extra units in. We don't got no nothing. And we need something, or else we're screwed. Or else we're like behind the 8 ball on this, and we need it. So I feel like I think that's a big contributor that I feel like maybe not as many people have been talking about as of late. They're just kind of shitty on the game itself, and I don't think the game deserves that much like what's it called? Flack. You know what I'm saying? I think the game itself was a decent experience. It just wasn't, it just didn't look exceptional, and it jumped in the pool at the wrong time. It jumped in the shark-infested waters when everybody was at their most ravenous, and then they got torn to pieces while these other big sharks are just chilling like, yo, y'all shouldn't have came in here. Y'all shouldn't have jumped in here. We told y'all. And I think this just speaks to a bigger issue with AAA gaming that we're at right now. And also, side note, I am working on a separate video for this, because this will be a video. I literally wrote out of blind fury and just like spirit in my solar plexus. I wrote a script for this shit too, so you will see a video from my channel coming on this as well. But just AAA gaming landscape, if people are trying to drop live services and hero shooters every fucking week, if people are trying to drop, you know, a twist on the twist on CSGO, the twist on this stuff here and there, where is AAA gaming going? If games taking 4+ years to develop, if people are putting all their eggs in this basket, and then they come out so late that people's tastes have moved on, and there's so much disdain for what games drop, and unless you're an established franchise, you have so little wiggle room to survive. AAA, where does it go?
I think AAA. I honestly think AAA is. I think it's like all things. I really do think it's a money thing. I think it's a quality control thing. I think the people who are pissed are honestly gonna have to start coming out of their own pockets and giving these motherfuckers the tools they need to succeed. And I don't even know. I don't think it's more of a Sony issue. I'm more so thinking of like AAA games, like EA AAA games.
Nah, yeah,
like,
this is everybody. This is not just Sony. This is not just PlayStation. This is an everybody thing now. This is an everybody
I
conversation.
can't really speak too much for Sony's money management because I don't know it too much because they're in Japan and shit. But like when you see certain things like, hey, we're gonna gut this entire company after we just like made a game. We're gonna fire all these people. We're gonna lay off all these studios. I think that they can't possibly get better quicker because they don't have the knowledge in the room anymore. Like that's something that I think they really need to sit down and understand that, like, yo, we can't just keep firing people after we do a job with them, because if we keep them together, if we keep them working together, everybody on the same team stays together, you get magic like Baldur's Gate. You get people who are stuck together, who have learned from each other and who can teach the newer people who are coming in. But a lot of these games that are coming out are just brand new studios patched together from people they fired earlier, and then nobody knows what the fuck is going on, and you gotta hope somebody is in there guiding the boat to safety.
Before you continue that point, you want to know who else had a very tight-knit team that speaks exactly to your point? Team Asobi, the guys that came out with Astrobot, the people that came out with Astrobot, literally this fucking week, they fit your exact description. But continue.
Like it's almost like it's sad that like I can see it, most people can see it, but the companies are still like, nah, I'm still gonna lay off as many fucking people as possible. I'm still gonna do this and the third. Like, I didn't realize this. I didn't know Phil Spencer made $10 million a year. And I don't know if that number is 100% accurate or not, but $10 million a year, yeah, maybe more. $10 million a year, yeah, all these people are getting fired. Man, shit like that is the problem. Things like that is the problem. You need to be able to say, hey, you know what, y'all? Here is some bread. Here's this. I know y'all need this. What else can I do for y'all? Instead of being like, what's in it for me? How much money can I get out of this? And that, I think, is really just the biggest problem that a lot of studios are having right now, is that they don't understand that what you do, like being in the same team, working with the same people, really is a benefit to the team as a whole. Because if you know how to use this program, know how to use this, how to create a world for God of War, and then next year it's not you anymore, it's somebody brand new, your coworkers now have to teach them all the shit that you knew, that you learned with them, and it's just gonna slow everything down. It's not the DEIs, it's not the fact that there are no titties in it, it's the fact that people in there don't have the experience because they can't possibly get the experience because they keep getting flip-flopped to different studios that use different engines and shit like that. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Look at, and I know people will bash Nintendo, but that's one thing why Nintendo games are always so quality. And I don't want to say always, but compared to some of the shit that we've seen from a game that costs way more to make,
their first party is iron fucking clad for a reason.
So yeah, they don't really drop, and the games that are duds aren't even that bad. Why? Because they know what the fuck they're doing over there. They've been doing it for a while. It just makes sense. But y'all don't want to protect their workers. You want to protect your bottom line. Not even the companies, like your bottom line. You just want to make sure you get to go home to your fucking McMansion.
Yeah. Listen, and to approach this from another angle, he's covered kind of the team, like what goes into the elements of making a game. I want to talk about more the expectation. I want to talk about what do companies really expect at this time? What is the norm? What is the mode? What is the most common thing that you guys should be putting out at this time? If it's this 8-year-long development process for some blockbuster thing that's gonna be up in the air, people aren't sure, that shouldn't be the standard. That should not be the norm. I understand. I don't want them to go away again, like freaking Magnus Opuses and shit like that, like all the masterpieces like a Red Dead Redemption 2 and blah blah blah. I still want those things, obviously, but that shouldn't be everybody trying to do that. Everybody shouldn't be, you know what I'm saying? I don't think everybody should be trying to pour a decade into development for a game. At the AAA level, specifically at this AAA level, I think there needs to be a resetting of the bar. There needs to be a reevaluation of what really means AAA at this point, because I think the costs have ballooned because so many different things. And one of these things that have been has been a pet peeve that as everybody's really been noting on, stuff like that. I forgot who as well. My mind is all over the place with this damn situation. Again, I'm not even mad. I can't be mad at Concord. I can't be mad at the game itself. I'm mad at so much shit around it that led it to fail. Because I see we see the system, bro. We see how like fractured this shit is. Why didn't Concord need to be like mocapped to the fucking hilt? Why did it have to be super Hollywood style things? Because there was animations for it. There was like an animated like parts of it and stuff like that in the trailers and whatever. But the game is just pure mocapped Hollywoodified stuff. I'm like, bro, I'm just saying, we don't need the Hollywoodified mocap, everything down to the nines, super close to realistic real life stuff in all of our AAA games. We don't need it. And I feel like that's a big thing that's contributing to ballooning costs. And that's been fucking up a lot of that. Ballooning costs, development times, and all that things. I think that's just a big minor thing. You know what I'm saying? That's a big thing, not a minor thing. That's a big thing, but that's a side issue that's involved. I just think we need to reevaluate really where we should put our time into. What's the norm? What's the scope that should be the norm at AAA? Again, many people have said it before, and I fully agree. Shorter, weirder games. We need to go back to the AA range and scope, and that should be considered. Today's AA is literally the AAA of the past. And this is the correlation I was trying to make. And again, you guys will probably hear something similar when I drop this shit. But when you think about Gen 6, when you think about that era, you think about Halo, you think about Jack and Daxter, you think about Sly Cooper, you think about those. How many countless IPs that were either continued and doubled up, and Metal Gear Solids that got 2 and 3 and Twin Snakes and all shit like that. So many of them have leveled up, and they were only about like no more than 25 hours. The highest will probably be maybe like 31 hours, and that's Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts is just, they've always had long stories, but that's a different thing. The norm was probably 20 hours or less. 18 to 20 is probably the norm in terms of playtime, and the scope, again, due to production costs, the limitations of the time, I understand, but the fact still remains, those projects were a lot more digestible in scope and production time, and that created so much more opportunity for you to completely experience something, and then you can say, yo, I really like that. What's the next game that's out here? You know what I'm saying? If you had access to it, cool. There's element of choice and all the human elements of blah, 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 but you at least had the opportunity to complete an experience, jump to the next one, and then make your determination whether you liked it or not. There was opportunity for IPs to rise and have a fighting chance. And with that, there was again less time to kind of work. They just had less production time, whatever. They just made different shit. They just made completely different things. Jack is not the same as Sly Cooper. You know what I'm saying? There's some similar things, but the style, the flash, the world, the lore, the thing is different. Not everything was a live service fucking shooter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that AAA period of the past, where there was so much variety, so much, again, flexibility when it came to what you see in the market. That's today's AA. When you see games like Astrobot, when you see games like Kane and Bridge of Spirits, when you see games like Cult of the Lamb, It Takes Two, when you see these games drop up, and some of them are, you can say they're indie case, they're big indies that kind of bleed into AA spaces. Helldivers 2, pure, I think that's the purest case of AA you could possibly get at this point, that borders on AAA maybe. You know what I'm saying? But I think that AA today needs to be the AAA going forward, because of how far we've gone. There's just some things that we need to scale back in terms of what we view as acceptable as fun, top line entertainment, and the definitions, it's got to be way wider than we think. It has to be. I'm not saying there's no room for the big blockbuster things like the next Skyrim, or, you know what I'm saying, whatever next Call of Duty big ass game, they got their development cycle down or whatever, and the next GTA 7 or blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying there isn't room for that. I would want to see those blockbuster things, but the frequency and the norm shouldn't be there, because it leads to Concord. It leads to what happened with this game. It leads to that. There's just so many things that we have to tweak and change if AAA gaming is going to be sustainable. We just got to kind of move that goalpost, because it's needed. It's needed to really have fun at this level. It's needed. And I feel like just the dynamics of it, because the space sometimes is so saturated at a AAA level, you'll see it. Motherfuckers are starving for fun. I'm not saying the game didn't do it on its own merit, but do you understand how many people took to Elden Ring? You understand how I took to Elden Ring? I was just so tired of seeing the same shit over and over and over again, especially in the multiplayer space. So when people get word of mouth of a different game that's coming through, like, oh, this game hard, I think it doubles over. I feel like the same effect happens with Helldivers because it's a fun, different experience to the same common hero shooter or live service game that you get. You know what I'm saying? There's some differentiable quality to it, or it's just a completely different genre entirely that might boost them even further once it catches wind that this is a really good product. And I feel like we just kind of entered this dynamic where, like, some game, again, the cream definitely does rise to the top, but we don't need so many bodies piled on top just to get to these good experiences. We can have a norm, these quality experiences that are more digestible, and then we can still have those great experiences on top. We can still have that. There can be a world where those things exist, but we just have to, we gotta check ourselves at the AAA level. We have to, bro. Something's breaking. If Concord, in my opinion, if games like Concord and more live service games open and grand closing in a year, 6 months, 2 weeks, if this is becoming frequent in the gaming space, we're going too far. We have to reevaluate, move the goalpost.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
So my last question before we move on to another topic. With this game, apparently the news report is, again, this game could be shut down, blah, 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 it's dead in the wind. They're reevaluating to see whether they might come back or not in free to play or whatever other format that they might do in down the line. But the show that we're going to talk about later, Secret Level, it's still happening. Their episode on that show is still happening. So is there potentially a chance for them to come back through that show? Because I thought about this kind of headcanon in my mind of like, yo, if there's enough support and they like this show, could it be enough to spur a comeback?
I don't know. Part of me wants to say yes, and the reason I say, the reason I say yes is because, like, if that episode is amazing, then perhaps. But I want to say no, mostly due to the fact that, like, just the people who watch the show aren't necessarily people who really, like, the people who watch the show may not be people who play video games, or maybe even people who even like multiplayer video games, right? Like, that's the biggest problem. I also think a lot of the people who are still gonna be very much of the said, like, oh, that episode was cool, too bad the game wasn't as good as the episode. Like, a lot of people are really just gonna they're gonna shit on it. I think the game essentially is pretty dead. And this is why, again, I don't think they should have taken it down as fast as they did, because even if they would have just left it up and just not done anything to it until the show dropped, it maybe would have created more buzz. But they really kind of shot themselves in the foot with this one. Like, it's very interesting. I don't think that it's going to be enough buzz to bring them back. I do think it's going to be enough buzz for people to be like, damn, I wish I would have been able to play it. But you would have to generate so much momentum for Sony to be like, yo, we're going back on what we said. Like, they gave people refunds. That's the biggest thing. They gave people full refunds. So it's like, I don't know if Sony's gonna be like, they're pretty, they don't normally do that. So I don't know if they're really gonna be pushing this game to come back out. They might want to just release the episode just to have it done. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it depends. I think they spent hella bucks on it to get this thing animated and all that stuff like that in the show. So damn, what they gonna show it? I think they will, and I think they might use that. The team Firewalk themselves and Sony might use it as a kind of like a benchmark of, okay, do really people actually care? Are they interested in this world actually? You know, and that sucks because if that show does more marketing for the game after it's dead, that's an indictment on what Firewalk and Sony were putting together for this marketing rollout in the first place. Like, there should have been a form and function to this, and there should have been a lot more runway for this. It could have been so many things that there were things that were inherently wrong with this stuff, but even moving that to the side, there were just some things in operation and execution I think could have been better from the production side, the marketing side, that could have at least given this game a fighting chance.
No, yeah, I agree. It's sad. I don't know if the show will be able to fix it. I will be watching, and I will watch the episode. And it looked like an interesting world when we saw the trailer, but I think everybody felt the same way when they saw the trailer, and then they realized hero shooter. It really just like turned everybody sour.
Listen, swimming against the tide in this day and age is hell. Gaming space is completely ruthless at this point, especially if you're going to one of those areas that have been very much testing the patience, attention span, and integrity of gamers. I think a lot of people are disgruntled about that. Either they're disgruntled or they just don't care because they've already found their place in that lane, their place in that pond, and they just don't want to look anywhere else. So rip Concord, man. Shout out to them devs. Put that down on your resume, bro, and keep pushing. Unfortunately, the problems with the game were just bigger than the production itself. Yeah, man. All right, let's move on. Holy hell, that was a lot to talk about. Let's get to this next one. Let's talk about a game that has been steadily receiving some really, really good just feedback, a lot more attention to it. It's Valve's brand new game, Deadlock. Yes, we have had some time to get hands on with the beta testing of the game. Shout out to a good person by the name of Went Easy who got me in there, and I was testing it. We were playing together. We were getting some games in. Went got some game time in as well on his own.
Some.
Okay, a hell of a lot. All right, a hell of a lot. All right, I'm underselling it a lot.
I'm addicted, unfortunately. I wish I wasn't.
Oh man, but listen, talk to me about Deadlock, your impressions. How do you feel about the world, the game, the mechanics, all of that? Break it down for me. How do you feel about Deadlock?
So, world. So for those who don't know, Deadlock. Let's just cover the basics. Third-person shooter MOBA. Think of a faster-paced Paragon. By faster-paced, I don't mean a crazy amount more faster, because Paragon's pretty fast. But like, it is. I feel like it's a MOBA that definitely was trying to be more shooter-centered without losing the MOBA flair. And I honestly feel like I don't want to say flair, more like gameplay. They nailed it. They definitely nailed it with that. It's different from a MOBA because I feel like the games are somewhat more faster. Not in terms of time, just in terms of gameplay. Like you're consistently doing a lot.
Yeah. I definitely feel like I'm more active than Paragon.
Yeah, like in Paragon, this game it makes you more aggressive. There's a lot of things going on in the game. But I think that this game has a good grip on what a shooter is, good grip on what a MOBA is, and they married it perfectly. The lanes structure is also a little bit different. The normal classes that you would be in a MOBA are different. Like you don't have a jungler, you don't really have set supports and marksmen. There's characters who play like that, but it's not really putting you in that box. I think that's one of the things that I like the most about the game is that I don't ever really feel like I have to play a support character, because it's never necessarily like, oh, we don't have a healer, well, we're screwed, you know? Like, you go in there with really whatever you want to play, and 9 times out of 10 you get the characters that you want. World, I think the world is interesting. It has what I don't necessarily say I like the aesthetic, but what I love is their commitment to it, you know? I'm not a huge fan of, it's like a weird noir,
like noir,
like
kind of
fantasy
steampunkish.
Yeah, like it's like a noir steampunky fantasy world, right? That also looks like old school, like 1950s. I want to say like New York or San Francisco. Like the style is great. I can't say that it's my favorite style overall. I love the dedication to it though. They definitely know what they're going for with each of their characters. All these characters are very unique, while at the same time having something somewhat in common. Like you feel like, yeah, these are all in the same world, right? The gameplay, really fun. If you're a fan of MOBAs, you're gonna be used to the farming, poking, like the whole nine. It's all there. The gunplay is fun. They really, I didn't know how they would do this and make it. Like I honestly didn't know how they were gonna make a shooter MOBA, right? And they kind of knocked it out of the park with it. Because when I first started playing, I'm like, well, I'm gonna just keep shooting my guns at the minions, and then you realize, oh wait, I just wasted a whole clip. This minion didn't die, and now I'm getting shot at because I'm vulnerable, because my reload time is egregious. So it makes you really think about a lot of things. Your last hitting different. They also set up a way for you to deny other people farms. So even when you're getting pushed in, you can deny them a little bit of money and put some money in your pocket. All in all, that mechanic in and of itself right there adds another layer to the game. And like we all know, MOBAs have many layers. There's a lot of ways of mastering a MOBA, and this game has made it so that we also have a lot of ways of skill expression, of being able to turn games around. Because there's many games where we were getting destroyed, and one good team fight, we turned it all around because we were able to like keep farming, keep our heads down, lock in, it is a really, really fun game. Characters all diverse, they all have a lot of different abilities, and a lot of them feel fun to play. I want to say I've played pretty much every character, but I can't fully say so because there's some characters that I had so much fun with that I really just don't even want to switch off of them. And honestly, as somebody who's played a lot of League of Legends, played a lot of Paragon, played a bit of Smite, this might be up there in terms of MOBAs for me personally. I love League, but League is a very slow, methodical game. In the way, like, you have to like start out, you want to play safe, you want to like, in this game, as soon as you jump in, you can really just start boxing. And you can do the same thing in League, but I feel like with this game, they want you to be more aggressive. And with the speed of the way the game is played, it also lets you be more express your skills more as well, because there are times where I should have lost the fight, but because I was able to like break their necks and like dash behind them and get the kill, like it's things like that that make the game feel very rewarding. Because even when you're behind on farm, if you can outplay them, you have outplayed them. Like you have so much potential to outplay them. Like, watch any high level Lash player and you tell me that person isn't, that person needs more souls to win fights. Like them boys be going all over the place, you can't even shoot them. That being said, balancing, I don't know, right? Because that's what's so tough about MOBA. Sometimes the character's not even strong, it's the items that they build. Or sometimes the items that were built just work better on this character than they do on the other characters. So it's like the balancing, I feel like I haven't really run into characters that I feel like were egregious. Lash is one of them that I was like, damn, this might be a little bit, his kit might be a little too stacked. Seven is another character.
I've been here Seven for like a week straight. Seven!
Because and I think they might have made it better, because now if you break line of sight, you don't really take that much damage. But like a Seven who jumps up in the middle of the sky, like, and because of the mobility, and then ults with the ult range that covers your base and more, like you really can't escape it unless you break line of sight. And that's what's troubling. There's certain things that could definitely use a tweak, but I can't speak on the balancing because I think there's way more information out there that I even know. There's a higher level of play that I haven't even touched on. So I'm not even going to touch on mobile balancing because, man, that's way out of my wheelhouse. The only thing I think the game truly does need, I don't think it needs a surrender button, because honestly, the games are long, but they can be turned around pretty quickly. But there, maybe bans would be cool. But honestly, it's just a really, really fun game. Like, if you could get your hands on Deadlock, or if y'all need Deadlock keys, just like if I'm ever streaming, ask me, because I don't mind jumping in there and sending a friend request. Like all you have to do is, if anybody you know is playing the game, all they have to do is send you an invite via Steam, and then you 9 times out of 10 you get in. The game is really, really, really fun to play if you like MOBAs. If you're not a fan of MOBAs but you really enjoy shooters, I would still say give it a good shake, because I think you might be able to enjoy it. It's just a shooter that makes you think a little bit more. That's really all it is. Like, imagine if when you're playing Overwatch, if you needed to interact with the payload every so often to be able to push your team forward. Like, that's really what it comes down to. Is it's more thought. You have to think more, and you have to do a little bit more outside of just shooting the enemy. But that's what gives the game layers, and that's what makes the game a lot of fun to play.
I would say, again, I have much less MOBA experience than Wen. It really just, again, some Paragon, some was like Smite and stuff like that, but I'm really not, MOBAs aren't my strong suit. MOBAs are not the strongest thing or the most active thing that I do in my wheelhouse of games, but still I'll give them a shot, you know what I'm saying, because people play them and stuff like that, and I'll run into them. I kind of judge my ability to like these games a lot off of how quickly I can understand some of the mechanics and feels, and how confident I feel, at least engaging in certain things in the game. That's just me. That's just my personal preference. You know what I'm saying? At least it's how I perceive what games I want to play, especially MOBAs. I feel like, and I think this is a very smart, a smart thing that they employed. And I think you hit on it. They married the third person shooter and MOBA really well. I think the fact that it is kind of a purer shooter than most of the MOBAs out there. Again, everybody has a gun, everybody has something there. I feel like that is not only a very enticing tactic for people who aren't all the way into MOBAs, but for people who are just, you know, either in the competitive scene or casual scene, they just kind of know that, you know, at least if all else fails, they gonna shoot a gun, they gonna shoot something, you know what I'm saying? So I think that is a very, very alluring mechanic and feature of the game that really gets people into it. So I know, again, my first couple games you was with me, and I'll probably have the footage up on here. Just it's gonna be super ass gameplay, so your fault, but you're welcome. I don't know, but like I think that my ability to at least shoot and be around, still trying to figure out, again, I was on MNK, so forgive me, I'm still not the best. I gotta go to aim labs, but still, the fact that I could just shoot the blank mechanic, I felt a little bit more confident and less sheepish than I did in other MOBAs at first, because I was like, okay, cool, at least I'm here, I can move around, I can you know, get back to these heal stations, back up when I need to, shoot and engage when I need to. I thought that was a very interesting inclusion, and I think that's gonna pay dividends for them in the end, because you see it, a lot of people are going to they just gonna want to play a shooter. They're gonna want to play a shooter, and you can marry some of those metrics and marry some of those characteristics with a MOBA. Very, very smart, very, very interesting. I think, again, it hooked me like it might hook a lot of people in that regard. But outside of that, I thought it was very fun. I think, correct me if I'm wrong as well, I feel like there's a lot more mobility throughout the game to kind of switch lanes and, you know what I'm saying, like engage in other parts. I feel like the map, like, again, the 4 lanes, there's a lot of things you can do in between. There's like the little jungle sections that aren't jungles, you know, the little like mobs you can go get some extra souls from and stuff. There's, I don't know if that's been in any other MOBA, the earn system, where like you run it from one end of the map to the other. There may be, it may not, I'm not sure.
There is some stuff like that in other MOBAs. I can't necessarily speak for League because I can't remember off the top of my head, but there is, no, because the dragon isn't like that. The dragon gives you a separate buff, but there are others, like I want to say Pokemon.
Oh, Unite and stuff like that. Okay.
Maybe. Okay. But like, the earn giving like money and like, because it gives money like all over the place, I think is somewhat unique. But I don't think, like, as a matter of fact, if y'all listening to this and you play a MOBA that has that, let us know.
Yeah, very.
But yeah, the earn system is really good for when you're falling behind. If you can secure the earn, like the map objectives really do have ways of coming back, as well as like the world being full of monsters you can kill outside of your lane. Like that's also another thing as well.
There are very, very frequent like little pit stops where you can just kill like the monsters of 3 in these little like back corners and stuff, and then get right back into the fight, get right back into your lane and stuff. I don't know, I just felt like the mobility of the game feels a lot more a lot nicer than other games. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, League, you don't have like the systems that traverse back and forth, the power lines or whatever you can zip line onto to get to and fro your lane. You can get across. The abilities, I feel like the game's speed and how the game kind of encourages a bit more mobility between lanes, speed to get back and forth from those lanes. I like that. I really, really do like that. It's not necessarily, oh, return to your lane button and walk it all the way back. I think the flow and the movement pathways that they've set up, you know, with, again, the zip lines and all stuff like that, I think that encourages, or at least I wouldn't say fills time more, but I would say it gives you a smoother experience to move around. It feels like you're not walking. It doesn't feel like a walking simulator as much, which I like. I like that I can get to the action quicker. The way that, again, like you said, they filled up with mobs and those movement mechanics that are very, very consistent and frequent throughout the space in the map. I think that, you know, all adds up to a more engaging experience. It's not so much, oh, you're just walking around trying to get back to your base and You can just take the line up to where your mob's like kind of one more position, and then you can go back and then go, you know, do what you need to do. Stop at a store if you still have it available in that midpoint in the map, but if not, go back to your base.
That's another thing I really enjoy. Like not having to go all the way back to base to buy an item.
Bro,
like
I ain't gonna lie.
That is huge.
On accident, my dumb ass, the store was available there, and it was me and Jin. Shout out to Jin Singh. We was on the far left lane, and I went all the way back to the base, and he stopped. He went to that base. He went to the item store that was right there. He's like, yo, why you going all the way back to the base? I was like, oh shit, my fault. Force of habit, gang. I didn't even know. I didn't even know it was like that. No,
it's really dope. And the thing that I think is also interesting is that like, it creates a place where you can get items, but then it also makes it so like, but it doesn't heal you. So you're like, all right, can I survive in this? If I get this item right here, can I survive in this lane long enough? Like it's pretty. I love that feature. I want to say there are other games that let you buy stuff, but I'm not sure. Again, like I can't remember every MOBA I've played, and I've played quite a bit of them. But yeah, no, I think this game in and of itself is very unique, and it's done something that it's funny because we go from talking about Concord, which is a game that was unique but isn't really, that had like marketing push it, and then they just gave up on it. This is a game that really doesn't have any marketing. It's really kind of just been word of mouth, and it's been going really well for them,
bro. They've got
a lot of people been talking about this game. They got
old pros switching games, like, yo, I gave up Valorant, I'm now playing Deadlock. Like when you got Valorant pro players saying they're going to Deadlock, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's a kind of a sign of like, yo, it's approachable to a lot of different pros in, you know, the competitive scenes. It's not just like mobile players switching, it's fucking FPS players switching, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like that might lend itself to a bigger audience than that people may realize.
A bunch of people who are like, yo, I don't have a I don't play Overwatch anymore, I'm gonna play this game now. Like, oh, okay, like that's awesome. And I think that a lot of people will enjoy this game because of that. But I also think that a lot of people don't jump into it thinking you're gonna just because you're good at shooters, you're gonna be able to do this. Like,
true. Yeah, very, very true. I think it's because it's a shooter, it's approachable, but because it's a MOBA as well, you got to understand the game. You got to really understand the game. People can shoot cool, but when motherfuckers got that buff running up on you, I don't know what you can do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta really get embedded in with the systems, the builds. I think the item shop itself as well, like the pre-builds that you can kind of look to and look at and stuff. I thought y'all pointed that out to me very early. I think that was very helpful as well. Things you can
like
buy,
even that in and of itself is something that's huge.
Yeah,
for people who don't know, like, dog, it's something that I wish League of Legends had, because honestly, you don't get that level of you don't get that level of support. When I first started playing that game, it was very much like, nah, dude, you have to learn this on your own. Like, figure it out, honestly.
And again, I'm like, and those supports help me, again, speaking as a player who has not as much experience in MOBAs and stuff, and wants to get into them more, honestly, that helps, because if I have that base I can go off of and say, okay, this is mid-game, this early game, mid-game, late game stuff I can buy and level up my character, eventually I'm gonna be more enticed to go off that beaten path instead of saying, oh, what the fuck is all this? I think the time to associate what works in each stage of the game and then start experimenting to get your own custom build and on your own characters, I feel like that pipeline is faster when you have those supports up. So to me, I feel energized to actually go into the game, because at least they gave me the basis, they gave me little training wheels, because I don't know to the left from right, and once I understand that, I can start to mix and match and add my own flair into it, and I feel like that happens faster and I can enjoy the game more than if I didn't have any support at all.
Facts. Like, it kind of set it up. They kind of figured like a lot of people who are gonna be switching over don't really know too much, so let's take the things that League started doing for new players, like hey, let's check the let's make sure that they have builds ready. Let's make sure that they have ways of bringing the game back and ways of expressing their skill without knowing all the mechanics right away. And they did a really good job. And we're not even in, I don't even know if this is a beta or an alpha, but the game itself is just fun to play. It's a lot of fun to play.
Very, very, very. The only thing I will say though, these bum ass cheaters, stay off of this game, bro. It's already started. You bums, get away, bro. You stink.
I don't understand. I mean, like, I've had this conversation multiple times. It's just people having nothing better to do, and like, I thought that was the point of video games. When you got nothing better to do, you just play the game. But like, people have take a step even further of like, I have nothing better to do but ruin games. Like, it's all right. Sure. I haven't myself run into cheaters, at least to my knowledge. It hasn't been any games that are awful, but I can only imagine that the high level MMR people are going to be pissed off.
Yeah, man.
Because it's just like, running into a person who can just like aimbot you is just, man.
Talk.
Sure.
Like, fuck off, man. Please, like, go, like, eat a professional and personal dick. Like, that's the advice I have for you. If you're still cheating, you're cheating in betas for MOBAs that ain't even out yet, bro. Please, on both sides of the field, eat a dick. That's all. Like, it's annoying. But yeah, so far I'm actually having a lot of fun with Deadlock. I want to play it again. I will play it again, you know what I'm saying? Definitely get in with the squad and see what's up. So far I'm very, very impressed.
Yeah, no, I'd definitely be playing it again. I was playing it last night.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to get into it this weekend. We gonna see what's up, man. When motherfuckers got time, I gotta get through a couple of different games. This is definitely one of them. I say we got a couple others in the bag, but let's talk about another game I will be playing this weekend. Another game I started. Another game I am into. Another game that I have been talking about since 2021. It finally dropped. It's finally been out in the wild. It's had time to be absorbed by the people. Black Myth Wukong. Ladies and gentlemen, Black Myth Wukong is out. It's been out. People are taking to it. They see what's going on. I saw it had a little blitz in the mainstream a little bit. People posting clips nonstop. You know what I'm saying? Getting involved as the Monkey King son Wukong. And again, it's in people's hands. Let's get straight to the meat and potatoes and talk about it. When so far, what do you feel? How are you thinking about this game?
I love Black Myth Wukong. I'm actually a huge fan of Black Myth Wukong. I've been having a blast with it. When I first got it, I honestly did not expect it to be as good as it was. I was like, I think it's gonna be great. I think it's gonna be fun, but there's no way this game is gonna be as good as it seems, correct? And boy, was I wrong. It is quite literally just that good. I've played, I want to say I'm on chapter 2, close to being done. I've done quite a bit of stuff in the game. I can't think of any there's only one negative trait, but I'm gonna go through the positives first. Combat, fire. Graphics, godlike. I'm playing it on a PlayStation 2 and I'm like blown away by the graphics. So you know that they got something, they got something special here. Combat is fun. It's a Souls-like in challenge, but not in mechanics, but not a Souls-like in some of
difficulty.
No, because it's kind of difficult, but it's not in its forgiveness. That's what it is.
Yeah,
it's Souls-like in combat, but not in its forgiveness, because you don't lose your souls. You can just keep pushing. Yeah, like it's a little refreshing, because don't get me wrong, I can play a Souls game, but when I play Souls games, usually what happens is I'm either in two mindsets of like, I'm gonna farm or I'm gonna explore. So if I'm in a farming mode and I have a lot of souls, I'm just not gonna go over there. I'm gonna find a place to settle down and level up real quick, and then maybe I'll go explore. With this game, like, you can kind of really play it however you want. You don't ever have to worry about that, which is kind of nice. Let's see what else. Gameplay fun, story is really, really fun. The set pieces are magnificent. The boss fights are so fun. They're disrespectful in some of the best ways possible. Like, I can't wait till you get to, because I know where you're at. Once you get to some of these fucking combos that they hit you with off of one hit, it's just bananas.
We gonna see. Yeah, just for context sake, I am at the beginning of chapter 2. I literally just finished chapter 1 earlier, and it's probably like 4 hours into the game. I think like 3 or 4.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I'm like close towards the end of chapter 2, if not the end of chapter 2. But the only bad thing that I have to say is that the game in and of itself, I don't even know why I said in and of itself, but the game has no mini map, and some of the areas just straight up look like places you can actually walk to, and they're like, nah, that's actually not a place you can walk to. I'm sorry about that. So when you're trying to explore, sometimes you walk into invisible walls. And I don't want to say sometimes, like, a lot of the times you will be walking into invisible walls, and it's just because like they don't have any way of like differentiating them from the regular walls. Not that I would want a big ass like, don't walk, actually no, you know what, maybe a big ass don't walk this way sign would actually benefit me, because there's so many times where I'm like walking and I'm like, oh, this looks like something I could go up.
Oh no!
And it's like, I can't.
The yellow paint, not the yellow paint.
Yeah,
they're gonna lose our minds.
Like,
the yellow paint.
Like, I don't know, man. Like, and it's not even like that kind of stuff, because like I'll always jump up a wall, but it's like there are walls that look just like the walls you can't jump up, and that's the problem. I wish the yellow paint would work, but you'd have to paint like the world yellow, really. Like it'd have to be like the red paint or something, because it's really hard to tell sometimes. Because there's one instance where I walked past this log and I tried to jump over it to go to the other side. I couldn't. I'm like, okay, cool. I see the same exact log in front of this, like damn near the same exact clearing. I walk up to it and I jump over the log and I'm like, that's annoying as fuck, because over there I couldn't do it. If I would have seen this and been like, because when I jumped up to it, I was like, I probably can't get over here, but let me just see. And then I did. I was like, man, this is a little inconsistent. It's a little annoying. And it seems like a small problem because, quite frankly, in the grand scheme of things, it is. But when you're trying to explore, it does get annoying because it happens consistently.
Yeah.
Consistently, you're running into like, oh man, actually, I can't go over here. Okay, sure. I'll just find somewhere else to go then. Like it's annoying. But other than that, yeah, I really have no complaints. The game is fun. It looks beautiful, and honestly, one of if not game of the year this year.
Understandable. I will start out with the constructive criticisms and the minuses, the negatives, and I really only have I would say, because this conversation, I will add that on, the no mini map thing, because I was literally pressing select multiple times. I was like, there's no mini map in this bitch?
Yo, bro,
I pressed select multiple times. I was like, bro, just expecting it to be there, and it wasn't there. I wish there was, just at least for a little directional awareness. That would be great. But maybe we get patched. Maybe it won't. Who knows? I'd say that's one. That clipping, again, like the environment, the lack of contrast in the paths, so sometimes you run into walls. That's two. I will give that. I will be fair and say that. And three, I would say, since I'm on the PC version, there's been a little bit of optimization and carrying thing. And again, I will say a good portion of it is down to my rig. My settings are fine. Like, it runs pretty smoothly and stuff outside. There's maybe a couple stops in between the cutscenes when it stops and starts, like a little like drop, but it comes back. I haven't crashed yet. Haven't done anything crazy, but some things have been patched pretty well by the time I started playing it, so it's not that bad. But I'd say there's a couple of like tearing things where the music and text would get off track to the voice acting. It's happened probably a couple times so far. Just general optimization things. I haven't run into any crazy bugs. Maybe one animal was in a wall, one wolf was in a wall, and I just like kept hitting him when he was in the wall. That's fine. It's not game breaking. Just general optimization things, and I've seen this pop up as well across a couple different accounts and people since the release of Black Myth Wukong. Just general optimization, shoring that up, making sure it's a little bit tighter. That's probably my only real criticism for my playthrough. Combined with Wen stuff, that's about 3 points, but the rest of it, mwah, this is what I'm here for, baby. This is what I'm here for. I told y'all, I said this from 2020 fucking 1. I don't care. You thought you saw a shield, baby. You thought you saw a shield, but you might as well put CCP on the back of my shirt, nigga. It's over. It's over, but I am actually enjoying the hell out of this playthrough so far. I was gassed for it. The opening sequence was freaking ridiculous, bro.
It was amazing.
This opening sequence. He's like, yo, Armies of Heaven was good, y'all. I came for wreck. I came for wreck, bro. Fantastic opening. Again, great like laying down of the scene and where we're going. The environments look really, really, really cool. I like the enemy designs. They look super good, especially the bosses and the mini bosses. They look very, very distinct. Everybody has their own exclusive, again, patterns and stuff and what they go through. I have been really enjoying what I've been looking at. It's been really pleasing on the eye so far. I've had an absolute blast seeing all the different, again, the set pieces, the cut scenes, and how they all play into each other. Again, the boss battles and just how grand some of their attacks look so far. I've enjoyed it. I'd say probably I don't know, what's my favorite design boss so far? What's my favorite design boss? Oh, it's the bear, but his first form before he's the big bear, at the summit of the mountain. If you guys got to that point, you understand what I'm saying. But when you first encounter the bear, I forget his name literally off the top of my head, but I was so gassed beating him because I first tried him his second form, which is insane. But I was about to say, the first form when he's just a human and he's just like going through his things before you learn like the ghost step or whatever, that form was hard. The music, the intro to him and stuff like that, the intro to his story, that whole intro at the start of the mountain in the bottom of the temple, freaking fire. That was ridiculously good. I was like, oh shit, he's saucing for real. He was hitting niggas with the what's the name, the Dr. Doom drop kick, bro. He had it straight out on his staff. Yeah. He came through and hit the Dr. Doom the ground kick, bro. I'm like, damn, bro.
A foot dive, yeah.
The foot dive, bro. I'm like, yo, he on some real shit right now. Absolutely love that. That's probably my favorite design boss so far. But again, the environment's fantastic. The character designs of everybody so far, great. I'm doing the English version right now, and the voice acting has been pretty solid across the board. We talked about this before the podcast, but it was hilarious how at the beginning of chapter 2, the headless guy who has the instrument and stuff, he's singing like, you know, folk tunes and stuff. He's singing in Chinese, but then he switches and he talks to you and he says he has an Irish accent. I was so confused at that. I was like, bro, what's going on with that? Not a slight, just an observation. It was funny, but the voice acting very solid. I want to switch to Chinese to understand what the other side of it is and how again the traditional voice acting, the performances are. But I have no gripes with the delivery or the performances of anybody just yet. It's been really solid so far. Story, again, I have the books with me in my house, so I'm literally doing read-throughs as I'm playing the game, and on the second playthrough I'm probably gonna be done with all the books, so I'm gonna go back in and literally read the entire story. Like, I have the story in my head so I can see all the references and where everybody has stuff, so that full thing will happen eventually. But so far the story's been really engaging. After you beat this is a little bit spoilery, but there's a little sequence after you beat a certain boss before chapter 2, and it shows this kind of animated sequence and it gives the context of story. And correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like Sifu did this as well. I feel like Sifu did do this well after you beat a boss and they kind of give you the backstory through the animated stuff. I mean, and also Infamous, you kind of beat somebody up, you beat a boss, you beat somebody, and they'll give you the kind of the backstory of this person, or at a certain checkpoint they'll give you that animated thing. But the animation there, I was like, yo, this is actually incredibly quality. This could be a short film. This could literally be a short film in and of itself. The dedication to folding out this story and folding out the backstories of everybody and stuff, I think it's only going to expound as I get further into the story. I'm really enjoying that. Lovely stuff when you build out and go through and see the characters, some of their motivations, how, you know, they're interacting with you. They're like, yo, again, you beating their ass, like, yo, he's back, like, yeah, like, you damn right, I'm back. And the piece that is estanched to me is the gameplay. The gameplay is absolutely addicting. It's so fun. It's fun. It's not no, to me, this shit ain't no Souls like. It's an action game. This is the olden days. We taking it back. This is an action joint. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Ninja Gaiden type shit. You know what I'm saying? But I like the games where there's a challenge, but you don't feel helpless. Because I feel very, to a higher degree, again, in Souls games, I don't want to compare too much, but again, I feel like the skill set and the tools and the mobility, I feel like I have a fighting chance every time I go into a fight, even though I don't know certain people. I've one-tried certain, like, I think at least 2 or 3 bosses so far. I've one-tried them, and I'm about to say, and I feel like I have a fighting chance with my mobility, with the attacks, with the, again, just how Wukong is set up to move around the world. I feel like there's a chance there for you to understand the game, have fun with it, but not be kind of afraid in every exchange because of, oh, you gotta dodge roll, you're gonna lose all your souls or whatever and stuff like that. I just feel like the character, how the gameplay is built around Wukong and how you interact with people in combat, I think it's really fucking cool. I think, again, the attacks, the perfect dodges, everything looks so flashy, nice. I don't want to say it gives me the exact same feels Kingdom Hearts. Again, I'm gonna say that every single fucking time a game reminds me of fast-paced gameplay in third person, whatever, but I'm saying that level of interactivity with the boss, that are mobs or whatever. You're doing a lot of flashy shit here and there. You're zipping all over the place. Yeah, again, the beginning sequence where you kind of pluck your hair out. You're multiple people. You're just whooping this man's ass or whatever. You turn to the one priest with the beads and the big ass head. Do a headbutt on this motherfucker. Like, there's so many fun ways to engage and strategize. I think strategize, again, there's room for flair, there's room for style, there's room for your personal play style. And I think as the game goes on, we're only going to get more access to enact our style and impose our style more on the game. Because I know me right now, the go-to is I'm gonna go immobilize, I'm gonna go big head, I'm gonna go bonk on your dumbass head, I'm gonna do that, and then once I get you down a little bit more, I'll wait till the immobilize halfway, I'm gonna switch to the fire staff dude, and I'm gonna get it popping with him for a little bit, I'm gonna come back, and then we get it going. Like, that's the strat right now. That's the strat right now for most of the bosses to kind of get through it and stuff. But I'm loving it. I'm enjoying this to the fullest right now. I think this is everything that I wanted out of this game, in terms of the gameplay loop and and how fun it feels to engage, and also it's offering that challenge. It's offering that challenge. I feel like I've only seen the surface of what bullshit lies ahead of us in this journey, because I've only heard stuff from when. I haven't seen too many clips. I've been keeping myself as spoiler free as possible to what is ahead, so I'm pretty blind, which I'm happy about. But so far I've been really loving it. I got to give this one the full review. This one's got to get the full review for me when it's all said and done. But so far, definitely, I think the gameplay, the feel, the story, everything sets out, and it kind of stakes a claim. Yo, this is one of the standout experiences of the year so far. I'll put my name on that. It's one of the standouts. I think it should be a game of the year contender. I'm not saying Shroud or whatever, saying that if it's not game of the year, it's shit rigged. I'm not saying all that, but it definitely stakes its claim as one of the standouts of the year so far. So yeah, that's dope. And
yeah,
also, you was gonna say something?
No, yeah, I was gonna say, like, I agree with you there. I do think that this is definitely a game that honestly deserves its flowers. If it's not nominated, then I do think that there's an issue there. But I can't imagine a world where games like this don't become more standard. And honestly, like, I think, and we'll talk more about this for one of the other topics, but I feel like right now we're looking at a renaissance in gaming where more countries are getting involved, and now it's going to be a lot more fun because now we're going to be able to have more competition, and that in and of itself is going to breed better games. Because a game of this quality, I honestly don't even think a lot of the people on our side really were expecting a game to be of this quality coming out. Like, I don't think they expected it to be this good. Bro, and it is like there's quite literally just one problem, which is just the mini map situation, and that could be an update.
Yeah,
like that would be one little quality of life content update, and it would be fucking damn. It might be game of the year because it's so good, and I can't imagine somebody playing this game who is a Souls fan and being like, no, this shit is ass. I can't imagine somebody who's playing this game who likes action games being like, it's ass. Like it covers such a wide base, and it's just quality, man. It's really good, high quality.
And to speak to your point again, I want to put this out there. Definitely not as early as certain people, because I think the first people that definitely did talk about this in retrospect was Game Illuminati GI podcast Ethos, because they did that whole little, I saw they dropped that whole thing on Twitter and stuff. They talked about it in like 2020. They talked about it mad early, but I remember 2 years ago, it was around the same time Where Winds Meet, Black Myth Wukong, and what was the other one? Phantom Blade Zero. When those games were kind of out and about in the same time frame, I think we were on this podcast again. I need to find this foot. I swear down, we were talking about it. We were like, yo, all these Chinese studios, all these studios in the East, bro, like this, they're cooking up with something, and all at the same time frame as well. And I was saying this as well because I was very happy about Black Myth Wukong. Of course I'm a fucking shill, so I'm gonna say it. I was like, bro, if this breaks the mold and this is a really good experience, this is gonna kick open the door for all these Eastern games and all these Chinese games to start really pushing through. I mean, when you look at it, you got these games coming through, and I don't know how many are affiliated with the China Hero Project, which is gonna be a lot more. I think there's another hero project that's starting out somewhere that PlayStation was working on. But when you look at it, there's going to be a lot more stuff coming from this region, and I love it. Again, the wuxia influence, the mythical stuff, the mythology of so many pieces of, again, China, Southeast Asia and stuff. There's so many things that we still haven't even seen yet fully in this way. Anybody has seen. You see how people are taken to it. You see how, again, Chinese people themselves are taken to it. This is one of their biggest folkloric heroes, and they're seeing them in a game format, and it's sounding like hotcakes, obviously, in China and here. So it's dope to see that this wave is beginning. This wave is starting. You know what I'm saying? There's a couple waves that I feel like we've seen coming, but this one I think is gonna spawn some really great games and experiences that we really haven't seen before. So I'm excited. I'm personally excited. Again, you see what it is, man. I've already been chilling for this one. I can't wait. Phantom Blade Zero is the next one. You know what I'm saying? And then there's Where Winds Meet. There's like a bunch of them that are coming through, and who knows what the next wave of stuff we haven't even seen yet is going to be like. So I'm happy about how this is beginning. I'm happy about how it's kicking off.
No, yeah, I am too. Like, even watching some of the trailers for other games. I think it was Phantom Blade. I remember like seeing some combat of that and being like, man, things are gonna be very different. And I can't wait to see how it changes just the industry in and of itself. And people start being like, you know what, we can't do half-ass no more. We can't. We have to compete, and as it should be.
Yeah, I agree. And there's so many more stories to tell, and there's so many more ways to do it. I feel like you don't have. It's just let's hope this spurns real creativity. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to be, again, the prior conversation. It doesn't have to be the craziest shit. It just has to be something that's fresh and fun, and people will feel that. People are going to feel that. So yeah, there's that. But before we move on from Black Myth Wukong, there's one thing that did happen, and then people have been talking about in whispers over the past few weeks since its release. Apparently there's been reports from IGN, Digital Foundry, Eurogamer, so many people. There's been some conflicting reports as well, but there's been a lot more corroboration than conflict over some news that potentially, with a grain of salt, take this please, Black Myth Wukong and Sony have been, I guess there's been some exclusivity angle or some deal that might have been put in place with Black Myth Wukong and Sony, so there's no game that's showing up anytime soon on Xbox platforms. Interesting. I mean, I feel like there could be some truth to it. I feel like, again, maybe the fact that there's been a lot of uproar about Xbox and working and getting stuff on their platform correctly, there could be some truth to that as well. I don't know how you feel about it, Wayne.
I don't think it's a bad idea if they are working on this. Personally, I know PlayStation really wants a shooter, but I genuinely just don't know what they can do. But getting a PlayStation being the single player mecca, yeah, that's kind of like already a thing. So for me personally, it would make a lot of sense on their part. And it is exactly what you said of like the Xbox is just annoying to work things on. Like you're not wrong whatsoever. I hope that the Xbox fans can keep getting games like Wukong, but you know, money be talking, man. Money be talking. And Bill, hey, you might have to you know what I'm saying? You might have to come up off some of that big salary if you're trying to get something like Wukong under your belt. But you know me, I think this would be a really good this would be good for PlayStation. But I also don't know what, like, the game just came out. Would they be doing it for the sequel, a DLC? Like, it's tough because they can honestly just do a DLC exclusivity, and that enough, then they wouldn't have to pay the full price. But that, I think, would get enough people to be like, oh, I might have to go over to PlayStation, or I might have to do XYZ. But hey, I think it also depends on like how much negotiation the company that made Wukong has. You know, what are they gonna say?
Yeah, I don't know what the truth is. It could lie somewhere in the middle. I don't even know. But all I'm saying is PlayStation have been kind of liberal with how much they use certain timing deals over the past decade, especially in competition with Xbox and just maintaining their stake in certain areas. I'm not saying it's happening. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying I wouldn't put it past them at this stage. I don't know what's real and what's not in the situation, so I can't fully determine it. But if you can get the game, go get the game. If you feel slighted, and you know what I'm saying, if you feel compelled enough to go get the game somewhere, go get the game somewhere, play it, because it's a ton of fucking fun. If you need to wait to see what happens when it comes to Xbox, do that too. Fine, whatever works, whatever floats your boat. All I know is, for me in my house, we playing this shit now. It's on Steam. I got it. So we playing it. That's all I know, bro. But so far, Black Myth Wukong, you're doing a damn good job. I can't wait to get the full review out. All right. That being said, that was a lot of yapping in the main stories, but let's talk about the quick bites, the quick stories that we can get through and run through. First of all, Replaced has been delayed to 2025. We got the alert about a week and change ago, probably a couple of weeks ago at this rate, maybe more. But again, they had an optimistic release date at first, but the team said they are pushing it back just to kind of meet the standards that they set for themselves. When, how do you feel about that?
I wish they would stop telling us when they're going to come out. And the reason I say this is just because I think they're at a place where they may not have known. I want them to come out in 2025. I think 2025 is actually a safe bet for them, to be honest. I don't think that's a bad date at all. But I wish when they would have first or second announced it, just be like, yo, listen, we need to just push this off. We're trying our hardest, but we have a lot going on. That being said, like, I don't want it to be, I mean, it's similar to like a Little Devil Inside, where they also push that shit.
Don't hurt my heart.
No, I know. It's sad.
Don't say that shit.
But I think they did it a smart way, because even though we are hurt that we don't have the game, we still like, we're not always thinking of it, right? But every time you bring up the fact this game keeps getting delayed, it's tough. But I don't think this is a game that's going to be I think it's a game that is going to be fine. I'm not really worried about it, the quality of the game. And I really hope they just take your time with this, because it's a game that isn't gonna need to be rushed. You know, we don't need this right now at this second.
Yeah. I take your time, bro. Take your time. Bro, just chill. You're good. Yeah, you
don't gotta keep explaining it to us. We got it. We understand, bro.
Honestly, bro, like when y'all drop, y'all will drop. Only thing this is affecting really was a video game draft. Honestly, I don't even think anybody I think people took it off. So you're fine. You're not messing up anybody's money yet. You'll be okay.
No.
All right, but we can slide on here and talk about Lies of P. Lies of P has a rumor about that there's a sequel coming, but more importantly about the sequel, it will be an open world experience. Apparently there's some job listings that NeoWiz posted fairly recently that could suggest that open world experience is needed for this next project. I mean, Lies of P2 in the open world? I don't know, going more Elden Ring style, kind of trying to go up with the big dogs. How you feel?
It makes sense. I could see it. I think it's funny because when we first saw the Dark Souls franchise started picking up steam, and then you see the Souls clones, they're kind of more akin to one of the first Dark Souls, and now we're seeing the Dark Soul clones being all right, now we need to start becoming Elden Ring clones. Now we need to start pushing into that territory. Which, hey, if it's a good game, I will be there. I saw a little bit of Lies of P. I wasn't crazy interested, but that's just me and my love, my feelings towards Souls. I think this could still be. I think it could be really good for them to push towards that though. Yeah,
when you think about the ranking of just Souls like games or Souls clones, blah blah blah, people have been saying, I mean, Lies of P probably is the closest thing to a Souls game that isn't from Souls. So NeoWiz definitely did a good job with their first game in the eyes of many people. So I think that going open world is probably, again, very logical, makes sense, and as long as they keep cooking like they were for the first game, they'll be on the right track. They'll be fine. They'll do their work. Yeah, so we'll see. All right, pushing on to the next story here. Let's talk about a special franchise that is coming back. We have heard word that Backyard Sports, the franchise Backyard Sports, is being relaunched. We're talking video games, the merch, the film, the TV, all that stuff. They're in the works. I'm more focused on the video games, but talk to me about Backyard Sports making its way back.
Who was it? I can't remember what podcast it was that said it, but was it the Kelseys? Anyways, doesn't matter. Shout out to Backyard Sports. I'm quite literally surprised that we didn't get this sooner.
Honestly,
it's a franchise that so many people have fond memories of. I am really excited for the people who love the franchise. Shout outs to Rich HQ. It's gonna be a blast to see. I really am interested. Are they gonna keep it 2D? I think they should. Are they gonna do a lot to change the game? I don't know. Will I be playing it? Absolutely. I love sports games that aren't corrupted with greed. So I definitely would be tapping in, because I would love a good baseball game. I would love a good I also like sport adjacent games that are sports but aren't super diehard realistic, because I'm just trying to have fun. I'm not trying to be the people who are playing it. So I think it's really good for them. I can't wait to see where this goes, and hopefully this makes games. I hope this shows people hey, we can make sports games that aren't super realistic, so we can get some cool shit, I don't know, NBA Street or something, that would be sick.
Yeah. Listen, we need the arcade funny style games. Again, just give us more fun, weird, out there games. This applies to the sports games as well. Backyard Sports is a fucking classic. Come on, let's get together. Don't make me sing the song, bro. Don't make me sing the song in front of y'all, bro, because I will do it. Anyways, this franchise is fantastic. I remember having the CD-ROMs with Backyard Baseball. Backyard Basketball specifically was my favorite, of course. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Dmitry Petrovic. Motherfuckers don't give him his shine. Shout out to him. Shout out to Ahmed Khan. You know what time it is with my boys. You know what I'm saying? Again, everybody gives Pablo love because he was one of the ones, of course. But you know what I'm saying? Don't sleep on Dmitry. Don't sleep on Ahmed Khan, bro. Don't sleep on Ahmed, bro. He's one of them ones too. But I have a lot of love for this franchise, of course. Super fun. Really just dope series, fun series. And again, kid-friendly stuff, super dope. And I think everybody of all ages will have fun with this. Everybody will. So I want them to bring back basketball. I need them to bring back baseball. You can throw in backyard soccer, throw in backyard football too. You know what I'm saying? Do what y'all gotta do. I just need basketball, baseball, NFL like hand egg football, and backyard football like football,
hand
soccer
egg.
So I just need those and we're good. That's all. That is all I need.
Yeah, no, that'd be sick. That would be sick.
That's a good starting lineup. All the other TV movies and stuff, y'all can keep that. You know what I'm saying? Do whatever y'all need with that. I just need the games to be on point. That's really all. Well, all right though, we can slide on here and we can talk about Capcom. Yes, Capcom they're dropping bombs, bro. They've been on a roll for the past several years and they're not stopping anytime soon because Capcom Fighting Collection 2 is going to be on the way in 2025. Again, we're getting the Capcom Collection 1, I believe, this fall. The second one is coming, and 8 games will be involved in the second Capcom Fighting Collection, including Capcom vs. SNK 2, Mark of the Millennium, Power Stone, and Power Stone 2, Project Justice, and a whole lot more. When talk to me about the second Capcom Fighting Collection.
I think it's gonna be dope. I am excited. I have yet to buy the first one because $50 is a lot, especially in the realm where every game is dropping damn near every 2 seconds. But I think they're gonna do a really good job with this. I hear really good things about Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and the other games and how they play online. I think Capcom has been firing on all cylinders. They want this money. They're serious,
bro.
They are serious,
bro. They about this bag, bro. And again, they even fixed all the technical issues with Xbox. So they said Xbox, you guys are gonna get it too next year. They're serious about getting this bag all over the place. So I could fucking cry, bro. They're giving us Power Stone back. They're giving us Power Stone back. They're giving it back to us. They're giving it back. They don't know. Power Stone and kind of irrelevant, but at least just in my head at the time, Gauntlet, those games was really running the streets at one point, bro. We was loving that in the house. So I'm so glad that Power Stone 1 and 2 are back in the mix again. It's just a wonderful time to be alive. If you haven't played Power Stone, please check it out. Please give this a check in 2025 when this comes through. Absolutely fantastic that they're including this in the collection, and they're on a roll, bro. They're on an absolute roll. The really good 8 titles. I think what Power Justice was in there as well. Good stuff. I have nothing but high remarks and praise for this collection and the lineup. And just let me know when in 2025. Let me know when. All right, we can slide on here and talk about a little bit more somber news. Until Dawn, the team behind Until Dawn, they have announced a whole host of major layoffs from Ballistic Moon Studio ahead of the game's release in the fall. Again, the remaster is set to come out on PS5 and PC very, very soon, but they announced a bunch of these layoffs first, man. When thoughts on this?
Man, I wanted to end, really. It's sad to see. Again, like I just said, like you won't really be able to grow as a company if every 2 years your entire staff just changes, you know? Like as much as the big guys and the directors at the top know, they just can't. When like it's so hard to explain, but it's essentially like, imagine if being a carpenter, your tools needed experience as well. That's kind of what it's like. It's like if every time you try to go and use your hammer and it doesn't really know how to hammer shit, you're gonna be sitting there trying to teach it every year. You're not gonna get anything done. And I hate comparing people to tools, But when your team just can't operate, bro, when one gear just isn't going, the whole machine stops. And that's something that like a lot of people just don't really understand. As much as the layoffs, like as much as you think the layoffs would be good for profit, you're sacrificing more profit down the line for okay profit now. Like it's just not feasible for me. I think it's short-sighted, truly. And I think that's really what's going to change. I think in a couple of years with other countries like Korea and China and like a bunch, and it's not that those countries have been making games before, but when like when our market starts shifting more towards buying games from them, and they continue to keep people on board and keeping these people making games, it's really gonna be a wake-up call to the American market of being like, yo, maybe we shouldn't just hire people to fire them later. You know, maybe we should actually set something up for these people to be able to grow and expand their skill set.
Yeah, no, I understand. And yeah, just sad. We have this conversation almost every fucking time this happens, and I just think it's particularly insane that you do it before major release. So I'm like, oh yeah, the top line guys like, oh, we got to maximize our profits, cut these guys out, and do it just before the game is pretty much done. The rest of you guys can work on shoring up the game and do that. I just think it's heinous, bro. I just think it's fucking heinous. That timing specifically is so fucking nasty, bro. I don't like it, bro. In an industry that needs talent, the way that talent are treated is so fucking bullshit, bro. So ass. Oh man, but we can move on and talk about some other news here. Let's talk about Sony. After this whole debacle that we talked about earlier with Concord, we've had some apparent reports, again, take this with a grain of salt as well, but there's been some internal reports about Fairgames, the next basically shooter that's coming out from that next big multiplayer shooter that's coming out from Sony. Apparently, game industry biz journalist Chris Dring has said internal conversations about it have been very, very positive. Given the recent news, I don't know. But Wen, how do you feel?
Man, I don't think they know what they're going in for, but also if I'm making a game, I'm also not going to be like, yeah, I think it's going to be ass for us, like you have to stay positive, but shooters, bro, shooters are such a hard market to break into. We have so many. I wish these people the best. I love the optimism. I love the enthusiasm. I hope people fuck with your game. I really do.
It's
personally
tough,
like it just doesn't. And it's the thing that sucks too, is that there's so much noise from people that don't actually buy games, that they're gonna be like, as long as your roster isn't DEI filled or whatever the fuck, but you could go and try to like I don't even know how to navigate this space for some of these people. I feel really bad for them, because it's like, on one side you're like, hey, we just want a really, really good, solid title that is inclusive. And you're probably like, yeah, I want to listen to these people. But then you have a billion bots being like, no DEIs. And then you make a game that doesn't have DEIs, and then they're like, oh, we're still not buying it. We're broke. We spent all our money on bots. Like, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
I hope I'm the best. But again, and I love shooters. That's what's really difficult for me to say this, but maybe now is not the best time for a shooter. Maybe now it's just not it,
Yeah. Especially with Fairgames being billed as an extraction shooter as well, it's just tough. I'm just saying, listen, if I'm any shooter, if I'm any live service shooter in this day and age, that especially first party, I'm making sure this game is the best thing I could possibly do, and I'm making sure our marketing plan is iron freaking clad, because you saw what happened at Concord, and now everything else is under some chase. Like, everybody shook. Marathon, I will be super focused on getting this thing as good as possible. I will be super focused. You know what I'm saying? If I'm Fairgames, super focused on making that good and making sure we communicate effectively exactly what this is and get people interested in on the boat early and often, because, bro, first impressions are literally killers nowadays. I mean, they've always been, but especially in the gaming space, especially now, killers. So Fairgames, I want it to be good. I hope for the best. I hope for every game to succeed and do that, like we always do. But this market is a tough one to kind of complete that task in, bro. So listen, tread carefully is what I say.
Yeah, like keep your heads up, keep working, but also stay off Twitter. Just
Stay off Twitter. Stay off it, bro. You don't need it. Need it.
I would check the threads before I even check Twitter. Like that shit is nasty. You're not gonna like what's on that side.
It gets real. It gets real. You know what I mean in there. So good luck. But we can move on here. Let's talk about Phil Spencer. Man. Interesting article that came out. I think this was based on a prior article as well. But you know, it just had an interview. I believe it was called Storytime with Phil Spencer. It just talked about, you know, just a bit of his mistakes. You know, just understanding, like, you know, just a lot of different things about it. And he was like, yeah, just some things just he wished he could have done, or maybe made mistakes about and stuff like that. And he said basically he made the worst decisions passing on certain things in gaming. He passed on making Guitar Hero exclusive. He passed on Destiny being Xbox exclusive. He's passed on a bunch of things that has, you know, kind of been a little bit crazy in hindsight. How do you feel about this admission of you know, an accountability on the part that he's been making some crazy decisions, you know, after years after they've been, you know, kind of down the line?
Phil Spencer makes $10 million a year. I don't know mistakes he thinks he's made, but he's made a lot of right decisions. But I will say, you know, like I'm making 10 mil a year. I don't know. I don't really think I fucked up anywhere. But anyways, I think making Guitar Hero exclusive would have been super sick for like 6 years, maybe. We don't play that game anymore. Maybe being exclusive would have helped the Guitar Hero, because they wouldn't have fucking, like, I don't even know what happened. I feel like they just self-exploded because they keep trying to push shit out and people really weren't going. Maybe it was the music industry. Maybe it was the plastic guitar industry. A bunch of different factors could have been that. Destiny could have made some good money, sure, but look at where it's at now. You know what I'm saying? And it's not an Activision thing. It's a Bungie problem that we came to that conclusion last podcast. It's a Bungie problem. So again, while sure you would have made some good money, and maybe he could have saved it, because that's the thing, is like, you think it's like, maybe if I would have made it exclusive and we could have saved it, we would be in a better spot. But it's just tough, because you could have also ran it into the ground faster. You never know. You really don't. And I don't know, because the thing is, like, I know the barrier of entry for Guitar Hero. Like, I didn't have Guitar Hero because my mom was not buying me a guitar, you know? So my ass only ever played it at my friend's crib. Is Guitar Hero gas enough to make people buy Xboxes? That's a better question, you know? But I think in hindsight, sure, you might have made a bunch of money, but also those are two franchises that are not relevant. I mean, Destiny's still around for sure, but it's not in the best light right now, and Guitar Hero is definitely dead.
Yeah, and again, it's hindsight. Hindsight's 2020. I feel like people were saying, "Oh, we'll never know what decisions he's making until he's retired and chooses to tell us whatever happens." But I think, I think that, you know, every person's gonna have some of those things as an executive under their belt like that. It is just, at the bottom line, can you do right by people and can you make astute moves? Maybe it would have worked out, maybe it wouldn't have. I can't say that it's the worst fucking decision ever, because again, look where Bungie ended up. Again, they made money, but look where, if you're gonna make it a 10-year game, I don't know if it lasted a full 10 years like that and is in the standing that people really want it to be. Maybe because of its ties with Microsoft beforehand, because Bungie, Halo, all that stuff. Maybe he regretted just letting them go. And again, the harmonics thing and Guitar Hero, I mean, listen, you know, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? The whole thing got outmoded in like four years, if not after that. So it's just a tough ordeal. It's a tough ordeal, but if you're in that position, generally speaking, you're gonna have misses. You're gonna have things that he said he doesn't regret those things. You know, he doesn't regret. He just tries to look forward and do his thing. But you have some misses. Nobody's batting 1,000 from that position, bro. Nobody is. So you know, it is what it is. Honestly, just is what it is. But we can move on here. Let's talk about probably the most obvious news we heard from Warner Brothers, bruh. WB Games have confirmed that a Hogwarts Legacy sequel is definitely in the works. Obviously, they quote, a successor to Hogwarts Legacy is one of the biggest priorities in a couple of years down the road, as reported in Variety. Warner Brothers CFO, he was like, bro, it's happening, dog, it's gonna happen. So how do you feel about this? I have a guess on how you do.
No matter what happens, I will not be there. At any point in time, they could put me there, and I promise you, on release, I will not be there. Hey, it makes sense that one of the most profitable games of that year getting a sequel. Damn, who could have possibly seen this coming? You know what I'm saying?
It's from Warner Brothers.
Yeah. And it's not like Warner Brothers is a game that is a company that really enjoys money. You know, they don't really seem like the type that to really sell their souls for a paycheck.
But never.
Yeah, no. What would be smart of them is to connect the Quidditch game and that game in some kind of capacity. But wait, why am I'm not giving them ideas? What would be smart of them is to go eat a dick. That would be the smartest choice for them.
Listen, hey man. My stance is slightly different to Wen's. You already know what time it is. Fuck J.K. Rowling. Let's get that in off top. But I still like Harry Potter to a certain extent. So if the game just somehow happens to be acquired in my hands, just know I like One Piece, even though I haven't watched even 10 episodes. Use your thinking caps for that one. That's all I gotta say. But obviously, of course, this thing is gonna be in the way. Obviously this thing is going to happen. I'm curious as to where they will go with the next one. You know, are they going to stay in like the times before Dumbledore and everybody, like the 1800s, or are they going to go a little bit further and see, you know, Dumbledore and all something like that in the 1900s and stuff, and go there? They're going to go like past the events of the Harry Potter series itself, like the Cursed Child era or some shit like that. I don't know. Maybe we'll see what's going on, but we know for definite that they were going to do this. So I mean, fucking duh. So we'll see what happens with it later, but we can slide on here and we can talk about Sony, man. What we did mention this in the earlier part of the podcast. We did talk about this with Black Myth Wukong. Sony, apparently, take this with a grain of salt. There's been some reports, specifically from Game Rant and a couple others, that Sony might have struck up a deal with Rockstar for exclusive marketing rights to GTA 6. And again, that would probably involve just promotional things, maybe some content and certain things being exclusive, a couple of pieces that are very specific to the PlayStation brand and the platform. Apparently, there's going to be that prioritization that may be in place. Reportedly. When, how you feel?
I don't know if that really matters that much these days. I know it matters to some extent, but to me, like, I remember when PlayStation announced a bunch of like GTA shit, and then I found out that it didn't really mean anything. Like, they were just like, oh, we got, like, every time it was like PlayStation whatchamacallit, the like showcases at E3, that's what it was. I was like, oh, cool, GTA 6. And then I realized, like, oh, they're just showing me trailers that are already there. And I remember being like somewhat into the console wars and then realizing, like, oh, they're showing me this stuff, but like, it doesn't really matter because we're all getting it, you know? It's still gonna be on Xbox. Like, and it's very evident that it's gonna be on Xbox. So like, I remember being a kid who was very much into the console wars and being like, oh, this is stupid. And it's kind of crazy because they make a lot of money off of that. Like, they make a lot of money off of Sony being like, oh, can we be the ones to put the trailer out? And maybe Sony gets the money on the back end of their YouTube channel, but like, it's kind of pointless when you really think about it.
I think there is a slight point to it in the grand scheme of things. Again, notice how I think there's been times in the past, and I think that has been revealed with certain things, how Sony sometimes will strike certain deals with certain studios to keep games either exclusive to the platform or deny access from other platforms. So again, grain of salt, whatever, but I've seen certain things have been said about Xbox kind of being denied access to certain games because deals have been put in place that kind of bar them and keep them on the other side of the gates. So
I see what you're saying. They're doing this to,
and this is not necessarily an access thing, because of course Rockstar is going to release everywhere. That's not an access thing, but for unit sales and potential bundles of console units, because a PS5 Pro, whatever, blah 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 bundle with GTA 6, that will sell like hotcakes. That will sell. So these little one-ups and these little deals here and there, if they can't have exclusivity to the game itself, they can get marketing rights and have it seem and have it look like to the public they have some type of eminent domain over these games, and make it look like, yo, PlayStation is where you should play these games first because we're the first to put this content out. It looks like we're in cahoots with them. I mean, by contract they are, but it looks like the game is primarily and they're focused on us. I think that's the marketing perception that they want to give. The perception that they want to give through their marketing is that, hey, GTA 6, the home of that is on PlayStation. This is why you should get it here. And I know as hardcore gamers or more active gamers, we just kind of brush it off like, oh, who gives a fuck? It's whatever. But to the casual, I think the marketing, the commercials, all that stuff, when you hear the PlayStation at the end of a GTA trailer and stuff, something will go off in your mind. I think something will start to suggest to them that, hey, Sony might be the way to play this game. A PlayStation might be the primary way to play this game. Some people who may be in between or whatever, who may or may not have it, blah blah blah. Trust me, a lot of people are waiting on GTA and using this opportunity to sell more console units, even if it's only a small margin. That's still a lot of money that Xbox isn't getting from console units. And I feel like this has been a part of Sony's strategy for the past few years of just like, if we can't have complete exclusivity in certain ways, like a Square Enix or whatever, blah blah blah, we're gonna have marketing priority like they've done with Call of Duty for the past several years. And I think that's also tied into how successful they've been in the last generations and generations prior, because they've had those little tidbits of exclusivity, those little bits. If it can't be total, it's partial, either in its perception or some pieces of content that they can tie to the experience. Oh, have Call of Duty map packs 30 days early. Oh, have this exclusive charm or whatever only on PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? These little things here and there that can give them a leg up, I think they're going to employ. So I personally think there's more weight to it than we may think or we may realize. So, they're using every hand, and I feel like it's only going to get bigger because they lost Call of Duty in the Activision deal. They just lost Call of Duty's exclusivity. So they're like, oh yeah, we on every front, we fighting, we making sure our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted. That's really it.
No, I agree. No, you're opening my eyes to something I didn't realize. You're absolutely right on the front of it changing the casual. I feel like we're getting to an era where this will, however, become not as important.
Yeah, no, because I can agree.
I remember when the PlayStation 5 dropped and didn't really even have games, and people who don't, and it became more of a status symbol than anything else, right? Mm-hmm. And if that trend continues of like consoles or access to consoles becoming a status symbol, people may like these small things like, oh, I see this trailer on this, isn't going to matter to the average consumer. But I think that is way down the line, and that is if video games continue the trajectory of being as important as they are now. Mm-hmm. But I completely agree on that. It does have a huge effect. I was just more so thinking like, why, who cares? But I'm thinking from my own little bubble.
Yeah. No. I from my personal perspective, I do not care. I do not care. Like I'm gonna get GTA and whenever I get it on. I'm just mad that this also ties into how, again, PC kind of gets shagged until like a year later because, oh, we got to get it on consoles first. Bullshit. But that's just the usual gripe with these types of games. Yeah, and it is what it is. We'll hopefully cross that bridge sooner rather than later with the PC release. But let's move on to the trailer trove, the section where we talk about more watchable media, the TVs, the animes, the movies, all that good stuff. And let's start with Sonic 3. It's on the way, ladies and gentlemen. Jim Carrey's back. You know what I'm saying? Ben Schwartz back. Everybody back. And on top of that, Shadow is in the building. Yes, Keanu Reeves is Shadow the Hedgehog, and he was shown off in this trailer. Little girls might get shot, you know what I'm saying? People might get called disgusting black creatures. I don't know. It's up. It might be up in this trailer, man. What'd you think, Wen?
I actually liked it, and it's funny. I remember I watched the trailer for Sonic 2, So I was like, you know what? I'll give the Sonic franchise a shot. Watched the first movie, thought that shit was whack. Have not watched Sonic 2 because I was like, man, I don't really care. Watch this. I will go back and watch Sonic 2. And I know Sonic 2 is way better than the first one. I hear really good things, but after watching the first one, I was like, I don't know how much better you can really get to get me to care. But here I am caring again. I will be tapping in. I thought Jim Carrey said he was going to retire, but he is a liar, it seems.
Listen,
which is very on brand.
Sonic bag. He heard that ding, hit his account, bro. He had to lock in.
Nah, it makes sense. He kills it in this role. He absolutely cooks his Eggman. So I'm gonna have to lock in and watch this movie. It looks dope. Keanu, obviously, that motherfucker is IRL Shadow the Hedgehog. It makes sense. So I think this is gonna be a really good move on their part.
Honestly, bro. Well, I listen. I'm in. Shadow Shadow look cool as hell, bro. What more do you want me to say? What more do you want? I know Kendall was doing backflips when he seen this trailer. Shout out to Ken knows it, bro. That brother was in hysterics. He was loving this shit. I think this actually is surprisingly, from where this thing started to that ugly ass model of Sonic the first time, to probably one of the most solid trilogies in a gaming adaptation that we've seen. It could be. They could finish the job. They could stick the landing and make a pretty decent trilogy for video game adaptation. So wild to think that we've come this far, but I'm interested to see it. I'm actually down. I saw the first one already. The second one I haven't seen, but I'm gonna see the second one before I watch the third. So interesting times, but it looked decent. Let's switch gears though and talk about another trailer that maybe didn't look as decent. I don't know, but the Minecraft movie trailer released to a lot of reactions. Whether they were good or bad, I couldn't tell you fully because I kind of blacked out after a certain point, but the trailer is there in theaters April 4th of 2025. How'd you feel?
I felt like motherfuckers got a lot of money. That's what it felt like. I was watching this like, this looks like a rich kid student film. Will I be tapped in? I'm not against it. I'm not gonna lie to you. It did not look good, but I'm not against watching a bad movie every now and then.
Listen, it is what it is. I don't know, man. It's just funny as hell. I think the movie would have been received like 10 times differently if Jack Black didn't say that wild ass shit that he was saying the other day, and he's not a villain anymore to people. If this was like a last year and he dropped the trailer, he would have been fine. But now everybody's like, nah, I don't know, bruh.
Yeah, like it's the Jack Black stock is definitely taking a bit of a hit. The Jason Momoa stock is not necessarily at a high price either. Like it's not. I like Jason Momoa. I like some of the Aquaman. I don't like some of the Aquaman. They're pretty whatever. But I haven't seen the second one. I gotta watch the second one. The first one was bad, but like, I gotta finish it. Yeah, I don't really know if I care too much for this movie. Will I watch it smacked out of my mind on the Discord? Oh yeah. That's a given. But will I watch it in theaters? If I'm not driving and I'm smacked out of my mind, yeah, I'll watch it too. But I'm not watching this. If I'm watching this sober, man. That is a cry for help. I'm
dead. I'm so dead. Hey, man, we'll figure it out, man. We'll see what happens. But I'm surprised that this movie's even like here. I forgot about it for so long. My thing is, why couldn't it all just be animated? If you're gonna animate the environments and stuff and maybe do like one couple live action trees, just animate the rest of it, bro. Just put their voices in it. I feel like there's a selfish attachment to make so many things look human instead of doing animation when so many more things could look cooler in animation. I'm like, bro, we don't need live action as much as you think. Just save it for another time. We don't need it. Trust me. I don't think I want to see Jack Black as often as I do in live action. His voice is fine enough. I love Kung Fu Panda. You know what I'm saying? I love all this other stuff. We don't need this insistence for live action pushing everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Half of the movie's already animated. Why not just go to full way? Just go to full Monty, bro.
Because they're paying for these faces, so they want these faces. You know, and they might have tried putting Jack Black's face on a square head, but
because niggas paid for the voices of Cameron Diaz, Eddie Murphy, and Michael Myers and stuff like that, and Shrek sold like hotcakes back in the day. Why can't you just be content with a voice? If you do it well enough, it wouldn't matter. Because
that's the thing about the old days, Trip.
They old
days.
I hate shit. Shout out to The Wire, man. Shout out to The Wire, nigga. Oh man, let's move on, nigga. let's go and talk about a very special project, man. Let's talk about Transformers. Yes, Transformers 40th anniversary is very close, if not upon us, and we've got news that Studio Trigger, yes, Anime Studio Trigger, has been commissioned to come through and work on a Transformers anime for Transformers 40th anniversary. I'm very excited. Of course, they worked on Kill la Kill, Cyberpunk Edge Runners, a whole bunch of different stuff over their run. I'm gassed. When I don't know about you.
I think it's gonna be pretty dope. Studio Trigger makes amazing work.
There, hey,
I like Transformers. It might be good. I'm not gonna hold my breath, but it might be gas.
No, I'm here to chill. This shit will be good. This shit will hit. I don't care what nobody says. This animated Transformers shit ain't for play, bro. They really do this shit. I don't care what none of y'all be talking about, bro. This is gonna hit. I listen. I'm in. I'm ready to roll out Optimus. Say the word, bro. Say the word. You can do it in Japanese this time, but say the word. That's all I know. That's all the notes I had, bro. I have nothing else to say except I'm in. Oh man, all right. We can move on. We can talk about the biggest announcement from Gamescom a couple of weeks ago was the announcement of the Secret Level show. It is a entirely kind of Love, Death, and Robots style show, literally a kind of like anthology style type thing from the team behind Love, Death, and Robots for a 15 episode show about different stories from the PlayStation universe and the PlayStation family of IPs. So stories will include Armored Core, Concord, Dungeons and Dragons. I'm about to say there's some Mega Man in there, there's some New World, some Pac-Man, there's a bunch of other stuff. Sifu, Spelunky, Outer Worlds, Unreal Tournament, Warhammer, that and more. There's just a bunch of video game stories. So not specifically PlayStation, my fault for the correction, but a bunch of stories from the video game universe, more adult themed, more Love, Death, and Robot style, coming to our eyeballs. When? How do you feel?
I am excited. I love Death and Robots is probably one of my favorite TV shows of all time. Specifically, the first season was
fantastic
amazing.
Show.
Yeah, no, phenomenal show. Am I excited for them to take this into the video game space? 1,000%, 1,000,000%, if that. I think they're gonna do great. I saw, as soon as I saw the Warhammer thing, I was already locked in. I 1,000% was locked in. Then I saw Kratos, and like part of me felt like, how much of this is actually gonna be like I was so confused because I'm like, how much of this is gonna be regular like video games, and how much of this is gonna be like things that have to do with actual trailers, like actual not trailers, but actual things that are going on in the world. Because I remember I saw Kratos, and in my mind,
he was on a
my mind saw it.
That motherfucker was in Brooklyn. I was like, what?
I saw it and I was like, dog, what's going on? Like, I was like, is this a trailer for a new game? Like, this is kind of bananas when you really think about it. But yeah, no, I'm locked in. I'm all for this. This is amazing. This is kind of low key what we needed though. Because I don't think every game needs its own series, right? I don't think every game needs Arcane, but I do think games would benefit from having like just a space where you can, hey, I'm gonna show you guys this little part of Wukong that you're not gonna get in the game, or a little side story that of a character that you enjoyed. We want to flesh them out again. Like, it's just small things like that I think would be really beneficial to certain IPs. And the fact that they're doing like a lot of good big IPs, it's great. I love the collaboration. Like
Love it.
I'm
Love
happy
it.
that they're able to work together to some extent, you know.
Mhm. Bro.
And honestly, like if it doesn't work out with them, like I also hope there's no like exclusivity or any kind of like
I don't
anything
think that
ruining
necessarily
this.
is, because again, they have PlayStation titles, they have Mega Man, they have Pac-Man I saw in there, Sifu. So there's a lot of different studios in there, not just PlayStation specific brands, which is great.
Yeah, no, and like that's the biggest thing is like as long as nobody's hogging the ball and letting a lot of others like, because I would hate for like Xbox not to be able to make a Halo episode or something because of some weird dumb contracting rules or whatever, you know. Like let's let this become a thing about love, because it helps everybody. The moment it becomes another marketing tactic to undercut the other team, that's when things start to get dicey.
100%. I feel like PlayStation did get a first mover's advantage on this, but I feel like it's not closed off to everybody else, which is good. Again, we see there's a whole line of brands, and then out of all of them, I see New World to turn around. Like Amazon, listen, y'all niggas not slick. Y'all are not slick, bro. We know y'all are putting your own shit there, all right, bro? I'm not tapped into New World like that no more, but I see what y'all doing. But outside of that, this is one of those times where I gotta smack the golden buzzer. This is a perfect idea for video games. This is a perfect fucking idea. This is the pairing of one of the most visceral, coolest animated shows we've ever seen in Love, Death, and Robots. And there's so many stories in the gaming universe that you can pair up with this studio, with these minds, and make magic. So many great things can come from this. I think this is a high potential to succeed. I cannot wait for Secret Level. I'm in. There's no, I have no other words except I'm in for this. And I have a question. One out of all these shows, out of all these ones, out of everything you saw in that trailer, what's the one that's like you want to see the most? What's that one episode you want to see the most?
So and this is an interesting one. Obviously, the Warhammer one is probably my number one, right? I'm not super pressed about the Warhammer one, and the only reason I say this is because I know Henry Cavill has a Warhammer show coming out, so it's a franchise I know is gonna get love. Mega Man is really interesting to me as well, mostly because like I would love for Capcom to see the potential of the IP, and I know they know the potential, but I want them to, but I don't think they know the extent of it. And I would love for like, I hope those numbers are being shared with the studios. Like, yo, this is your episode did this, your episode did this. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if I'm playing, if I am Santa Monica, I don't care how much Mega Man did. The God of War episode, right? Like, I hope that is more important. Like, these people are seeing the love for these franchises. But I am also interested in the Concord one now, because it's like, now it's kind of like out of its time, if that makes sense. It's not present. It's something that you can't access, and I want to see if we missed out on something cool. You know, I want to see if we missed out on something great. I would love for them to have an episode in there though. Like, if there's a game in there that doesn't have that has an episode but we don't see it in the trailer, because that's another thing that I thought of. Like, what if they didn't show us all of it, right? What if they didn't show us every single franchise that was in it?
I thought I saw V from Cyberpunk in there, but I could be wrong. I thought I saw V at some point in that trailer, but again, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, folks. But yeah, could be wrong.
Yeah, like if we're getting a bunch of different things, I would absolutely love if we got an Overwatch episode. And I'm not even a huge Overwatch fan, but like the people have been asking for this for years. And it would just make sense if they actually came through and said, you know what, here's a full 30-minute, because some of the cutscenes are damn near 30 minutes. They might as well just make an episode out of it. But we'll see what happens with them. But all in all, it looks like a really, really fun show. You know damn well I'll be watching. I might rewatch all of Love, Death, and Robots. And it's not even connected to it, but I might rewatch that just to get the
style down, just to get the palette ready, you know?
Exactly.
100. And before I close this out, I will say the one episode I'm looking forward to, Sifu. That looks really good. I need it. Oh my gosh, to fuel my love and potential desire for a sequel, and just because the fact that Sifu's a dope ass world and I love martial arts shit, so I need that. That's my number one pick. Number two, honestly, is Concord, for the fact of I want to see how people receive that IP after the fact that it just kind of tanked in like 2 weeks. I want to see what that looks like. But yeah, we'll see, man. Secret Level, fantastic idea. Probably the best video game adaptation idea I've seen yet, at least since doing this podcast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, they kind of cooked.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man. But with that being said, we can close out the trailer trope and turn that off and turn on the rest of these regular stories for the pod, and let's talk about them. Let's talk about a quick Gamescom recap. Again, most of that stuff is already dead in the water. It's been covered to death, but two things that we did want to talk about were two specific reveals. Didn't get much from them, but we wanted to talk about them nonetheless. The first reveal came at the end of the showcase. It came at the end of opening night live as we got the reveal that Mafia, the old country, will be coming to our controllers in 2025. It is a whole throwback and a callback and a real return to the origins of the Mafia in Italy, in the homeland, for this entire series. How do you feel about that?
I saw this and immediately was like, damn, this is probably the best announcement of the show. Not even trying to be and I'm not even a huge Mafia fan either. Like I like Mafia, but it's not my favorite game of all time. So when I saw that, I was like, damn, this is pretty dope. I'm pretty excited for it. I'm playing through the definitive edition on Game Pass. I'm a huge fan of the pseudo open world, but not really, because I love having the open world, but I hate like unnecessarily having to like drive through all this stuff and XYZ. Like it's weird, but I love what they do, where it's like there's a big sprawling world, but it's still a single player experience. It's still, hey, go here, go there, do this mission. Like it's still just like continuously a story, and that's what I really enjoy about it, because sometimes I don't really need it to be an open world game. But they're like, yo, we have a city, but if you don't want to explore, you don't have to, and I enjoy that a lot. So I'm really excited for this new Mafia game. I plan on playing through all of them because I own Mafia 2, and Mafia 3 I'm sure I can find for cheap. So I'm pretty excited about that announcement, to be honest.
And the work that they did on the Mafia Definitive Edition when they remastered and brought everything up to speed, I think they're ready for prime time to really bring the visuals, bring the quality, just bring some real like next gen stuff to the franchise. I think they're ready for that, and they've already proven that they're in a good level, and they can up it very clearly with again the Mafia Definitive Edition. I love this idea, taking it back to the roots of the Mafia, kind of the origins of, like, you know, the Mafia families in the homeland. I feel like, again, outside of Assassin's Creed, I don't think I've really experienced too much of Italy in any context, especially not modern Italy, in any open world context, or, you know what I'm saying, seeing where these things might have spawned to, and how kind of the lands are formed in that day and age, you know, before, again, it's not too long before. Hopefully it won't be too long before. I don't think it'll be too long before Mafia 1, because Mafia 1 was like the 1920s, so it'll probably be like the 1900s, literally, like the 1890s, 1900s, 1910s at worst, whatever. So the setting,
it could even also be during Mafia 1 too. Like, I wouldn't even be surprised if anything like that.
It could bleed into it.
It's in Italy, if I'm not mistaken.
Is in the homelands right there for the Mafia. So I'm like, I'm super interested on the setting. I'm super interested on where we're gonna see the characters. Are we gonna see, is it enough time before to where we'll see young Vito Scaletta? I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Is it enough things that will have a cameo and little things here and there? I don't know, but I'm very interested in this narrative. I'm very interested in what they're going to develop, and I'm interested in how they're going to build out the world of old-timey Italy. So I'm with it. I'm super with this. And the second thing that we got was actually at the beginning of the show. Again, pardon me because I had to switch it, because, you know, we might have a bit more to say about this one, but we got the reveal. It's happening. It's on the way. Borderlands 4 has officially been announced for 2025. We got the trailer, and everything was going down. Talk to me. How do you feel?
I was not moved. I very much was not moved. I watched it and I thought to myself, hey man, this is, I don't know. Like, that's the way I felt. Like, I was just watching it, like, as much as I love Borderlands, and I do, I really do, I just didn't feel like it was, not necessarily, not that it was the right time, but just don't know if they really care that much to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want this to be rushed. I got a cinematic trailer with no real context
But I know the context, and I'm
aware of the context.
Yeah,
Shawty's alive. She moved the moon. Cool. I don't. Go ahead.
Go finish your thought.
I don't know if I trust them after Tiny Tina's. And it's not even that Tiny Tina's was a bad game. The game was just kind of mid, which isn't a bad thing. I wasn't really moving like that, you know? Like I still need to go back. I do want to go back because the game was fun to play, but like I remember playing that game and people would be talking on the comms and I don't even see a portrait of them. And I'm like, God, like what is even like what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Like shit like that was just like it felt like that game was a little rushed, if you ask me. And that's my biggest issue is that my biggest issue with this game is that like you're telling me a game that I never heard of is being announced in August, that in 2025 the game will release. You're gonna release this game in 2025? Are you insane? You know how many games are releasing in 2025?
Yeah.
And if you're announcing this in August, that means you're gonna probably release in what?
Back to that
December?
feeling. God, everything's dropping in 2025.
Like, why are you doing this?
I forgot about that, bro. Okay. I will say this. I was not fully moved until I realized that we might actually finally get the Iridian War that was teased so long ago. I completely forgot about that, but then I realized, bro, we might actually get that, and we might see Iridians back fully. You know what I'm saying? Like Borderlands 1, the Iridian Promontory, like that whole thing, we were really like up and against it, not just fighting one boss, but like we really up and around it. You know what I'm saying? Like the end of, I think it was, they were in Borderlands 2, they're like some DLC, whatever the fuck, I can't remember, but I remember they were the end of the pre-sequel, one of them was, but besides the point, we fully might actually get the Iridian War, which I've been excited for a very long time as a Borderlands fan. That's something I've wanted to see play out in real time. That's great. But in the context of how Borderlands has been released, Tales from the Borderlands 2 wasn't fantastic, wasn't received fantastically well. Borderlands 3, the clusterfuck that we all know. What's it called? Borderlands, Tiny Tina's as well. Tiny Tina's, I think, was an upturn. I think it was better, but I think it just needed something more. And again, same way, we got to go back and finish that because we were playing through it together, and it just wasn't all the way there. And after the movie, I'll say it one more time, the movie, Borderlands as a brand is not in the greatest state. It's not. We can call spade a spade. They have to deliver, and specifically, the story has to deliver. The gameplay of Borderlands 3 was, to me, I think it was best in class. I think it actually felt very, very good. The gameplay was fantastic. That was what I wanted to see. But the fact that the story took steps backwards and it never really fully recovered, because Tiny Tina's, again, it's mostly from Tiny Tina's view of you know, I'm about to say Dungeon Badass. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but you know what I mean. There isn't enough weight in those two games to say, hey, we're really pushing for something that's truly fantastic in the range of Borderlands 2. And I think that's the toughest thing here. Can you build that narrative? Can you drive home this narrative? Can you go to home plate and build that narrative that's as good as Borderlands 2, if not better, on top of having best-in-class gameplay beyond Borderlands 4, having characters that are, again, engaging beyond, beyond Borderlands 2? Like, can you build that back up? Can you build back up and surpass Borderlands 2? That's my standard of bearing. That's what it has to be for me. So we'll see. And they're fighting uphill. They're running uphill right now with so much stuff against them, with the past games not being as well as they could have been. The movie freaking bombing. I still gotta go watch that just and honestly take years off my lifespan hating that thing. Or maybe like it. I don't know. Maybe I'll like it. I doubt I will, but I'm just saying that for fair argument's sake. Borderlands 4 has a lot of work to do to earn trust back and show that they are ready to surpass and potentially be the best game in the series. But I'm a little bit excited. Was I moved? Slightly, when I realized the ramifications of the story, and we got to see where we are from there. We got to move, man. Yeah. Borderlands, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm not really super excited for it. I'll buy it, don't get me wrong. I'll probably buy it on release if the gameplay is still the same, but their story has been so bad as of late, and it's been tiring. So like, and if it's a game that I can't get into, then it is what it is.
Yeah, it's tough, bro, because again, Borderlands is one of my favorite series of all time, and I think people have said this before. A lot of videos who have covered the games before have said this. Like, Borderlands 3 was kind of that tipping point where it just became too much of the comedy and not enough of the weight. Because to go from Borderlands 2 and Tales from the Borderlands, where I think there was a great balance between the morbidness and the craziness of the world and taking emotional beats and still having them in there and kind of keeping it balanced with the comedy and the cringe and all that stuff. The comedy and cringe, all that stuff that Borderlands does is palatable. It's digestible as long as there's those balancing moments of emotion, weight, seriousness to it, because it happens. Borderlands 2, one of the best games I've ever played. I'll still stand on that because it had that balance. Just disappeared with Borderlands 3 and hasn't really shown up fully since. And we need that. That's the biggest component. The story has to have that balance, and it has to have that in abundance to really, really drive home we're back. So we'll see. All right, we can slide on here. We can talk about Xbox really quickly and some of the problems that people have been running to with Xbox Series S. There's been some uptick, man. I've seen some tweets from the cartel. Dell talking about it. He's been getting some slander, which has been, unjustified, especially now when we're talking about so many people who are having issues developing for the Xbox Series S with the bugs, glitches and stuff, and they just can't really get a full handle on this thing. And we've seen people talk about it. It's a couple of teams from id Software, Baldur's Gate 3, Remedy, Black Myth Wukong, again, Del Walker himself, Dune Awakening, some people from Tori the Last Song. There's been a lot of people and teams who have been talking about there's some tough workarounds with Xbox Series S. So talk to me. What's going on, bro? How's it impacting everybody?
Man, I feel like we all kind of saw this coming when it was first announced. I saw this coming. I was like, I don't know how this is gonna work having, and as much as I love the concept, I just don't know how it's gonna work having a weaker console that all the games that you're playing on can be played on, because then you kind of go into the territory of being like, hey, I need to create essentially a low spec version of my console game. Like, you're already going from PC to console, right? Like, you're already transferring one game to a different platform. On top of that, PlayStation and Xbox are different, so you're already having to do more for that as well, having to basically make like two different versions. And then on top of that, one of the versions has to be able to play it on a lower spec mode for the Xbox. It's just, honestly, things like that would make me a PlayStation exclusive just by default. I wouldn't even need them to pay me that much, because it's just like, oh, I get to cut back on development. I get to cut back on the cost because I don't have to worry about making it for Xbox. Like, yeah, no, I'm pretty good off of that. I love the concept of the Series S, but I think a better idea would just to be making the entire Series X cheaper than creating a cheaper alternative, because now you're kind of like holding a lot of people back who want to be on Xbox, and they're just like, well, I'd rather not have to deal with this headache, So me personally, it makes sense. I hate it though, because I do think the Series S is a dope concept, and I think it's awesome to have like a cheaper alternative for people who don't have all this bread. But it is, if it's gonna hurt us in the long run, then maybe it's time to like pull the trigger. It's like when people are making games for like the PS4 still.
Exactly. You took the point right out of my mouth, bro. I'm like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
What's the point? What is the purpose of this? Why am I bottlenecking myself for no reason, really? I'm bottlenecking myself just to be able to say, hey, I have it on Xbox. And that's quite unfortunate. Yeah,
because most of these motherfuckers think they can run 2K25, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and all that stuff on a PS4 at this stage.
Bro, it's not feasible.
You know, I seen somebody the other day call PS4 current gen?
Nah, they're bugging.
I saw them call it the current gen. I was like, bro,
it's not.
If I put in this Black Myth Wukong disc onto your PS5, I'm blowing up half your house, and it's not my fault. It's yours for having that hardware in there still. Yeah, are you out of your mind? Are you high? I don't know, man.
It's tough. It's tough, and it's not that I want people to have to pay more for video games. I really don't. Like, I believe you me, my life, if it wasn't for Xbox Game Pass, my life would be in shambles. Like, I like the product, but it's just, it doesn't seem like it's sustainable, really. Like, it just doesn't. You're gonna have to come out with an Xbox Series S consistently, like when parts get cheaper, to like keep it up. Like, it's just, I don't know. Maybe this is like a one-time thing. Maybe this was just them trying to test the waters, but like PlayStation is going the opposite route of being like, hey, we're gonna make a PlayStation Pro, instead of, and it's like, damn, all right, cool. And Xbox is like, we're making an Xbox slow. Like, that's really what it is.
Xbox Series slow is insane.
That's really what it is. It's tough, but brother, I can't do anything for you. Like, as much as I would love to develop for that, like, it may just be a little indie console type vibe, you know. But for all that, I just get a Switch.
Maybe that was confusing marketing as well. If they came, like, technically you would say they came out with a Pro version on drop and had that's what the X is, and then the S is a cheaper option that's only streaming and stuff like that. But that might have confused marketing because people are so used to the cadence of drop the regular console and then the Pro version comes out a little bit, maybe the slim version comes in between, that's a little bit more capable. Maybe the timing of those drops, putting them simultaneously at the beginning of the console generation, that might have confused people a little bit as well, outside of the internal issues that you have to deal with developing on this thing. That might have been a point of confusion as well.
Yeah,
interesting times though. But people are working through it. Again, they got the Capcom collection on there, other games working through it. But yeah, it's a tough time. It's a tough time for the Series S right now. But we can move on real quick and we can talk about Call of Duty Black Ops 6. The COD beta is going on. The second weekend is happening as we are recording this. The first weekend did go through. Again, Xbox Game Pass users got some free access. Everybody's getting codes. COD Next happened in the end of August. Whole bunch of stuff, but it's out in the wild. It's in people's hands and people are getting impressions of it. We have got some impressions of it as well. When notable Cody Rhodes user in Modern Warfare 3, what do you make of Black Ops 6?
I'm having a blast. It's a lot of fun. We're clapping cheeks, figuratively and literally. It has honestly been such a silly, fun experience, and it might be the one to make that Activision deal seem not so stupid. I don't know. Like, don't get me wrong, I had a lot of fun with Modern Warfare 3. It was cool, but like I don't know what it was missing. This shit is kind of goofy. Like, Black Ops 6 feels goofy in the best way possible. Like, you're just running around, grabbing people, jumping up. Like, it's so stupid and silly, but it's also really fun. And the skill expression is bananas. We were in a sweaty ass lobby the other day. Maybe he was cheating, maybe he's goated, but the homie was going absolutely bananas, right? And I was just sitting there like, damn, like, he's cooking right now. And I'm over here just trying to like dive and shoot and all that stuff, but like, I'm watching the kill cams and I'm like, damn, he's frying, bro. Like, but I can't even be mad because I'm like, I'm kind of impressed because now I'm over here like, maybe I need to work on my movement. I started picking up the stims because that's what I've been seeing, the sweat picking up too. Like, they get shot there, they be jumping up, stimming, fucking hit a 360 no scope. I'm like, God damn, what are you on? Like, it's like that Shumpert meme when he was talking about Kobe.
Bro, what you on?
Like, jumps back, throws a grenade at himself, grabs it, throws it back. I'm like, what are you on? Like, bro. But honestly, I've been having I'm having a blast. I like the beta. I enjoyed that, like, the first beta, they had some stuff, and when they did the open beta, they added like two guns, or like added a couple more levels, which is great because now, like, at first I wasn't going to tap really back into it, and then when I got back in there, I'm like, I saw that there's more perks and stuff. I'm like, oh damn, no, I might actually have to like actually give this the same amount of time because there's more stuff for me to play now. So like, I'm excited that the beta has more replayability. And all in all, I think Black Ops 6 is gonna be fun. We haven't even touched zombies yet, and I'm already having fun with multiplayer. Like, yeah, like, it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna consume me. You know, I don't think it's gonna be the game that going into 2025 I'm gonna be like, oh guys, sorry, I gotta play some COD. But it's definitely not. I and I can't believe I'm saying this, I'm definitely not going to delete that 3 terabytes of space that often, you know?
He won't drop it off the hard drive.
No, I don't think I will. I don't think I will unless we hit a game that is so impactful. No, you know what? Splitgate might be the deciding factor. Splitgate is something that I'm more inclined to play than Call of Duty. Yeah, it might be wraps for them, but as of right now, I could easily see it being like, yo, Dead Cells just pissed me the fuck off. I don't feel like jumping on Wukong, and I don't feel like playing some Space Marines. Y'all trying to run some games of Call of Duty, like that type of vibe.
Hey, listen, it might be, bro. It might be. And for my impression, I was very, very happy with what I played weekend 1. I was very, very happy with it. The new Omni movement system feels really fun. The game feels very responsive, regardless of the Omni movement. But with it, it feels responsive. It feels snappy.
Yeah, that gunplay is tight.
Bro, it's on. Yeah. The slightly higher TTK than other games, I feel like, gives it that little bit of just again the little bit of risk in there and stuff like that, but it feels snappy. Your shots, when you're on, you're on. When you're off, you're off. I feel like there's good response in there. The simplification of the what's it called, the aim assist and stuff like that, very, very nice for me, because if your aim is on, your aim is on. If your aim is ass, you can't blame a response curve, gang. Just aim, whatever. But again, the gunplay, very, very tight. The movement system going around there, I'm having a blast with it. I'm having super fun doing these action ass Michael Bay movie jumps off of a balcony into a pool and stuff, and doing all this craziness. I've seen people go absolutely crazy with it. You know that picture of Lois from Family Guy when she's like flying down the stairs? People are moving like that the whole time, bro. They doing dives and everything. It's been fantastic. One thing I will say that's been understated so far, I've enjoyed the majority of the maps that we've played on. I've enjoyed the majority of the maps. The only ones I can say I didn't like too much, Derelict is probably the only one I'll say is weird, and I'll only state that because sometimes the contrast between players was a little bit weird for me. That's just my eyesight. That's just me personally. But outside of that, I think the maps weren't too big. I think the maps, again, they had a lot of good lanes and areas to combat and contact people with. People, of course, they're gonna camp and do what they do, blah blah blah, but I loved the maps. I think, again, Derelict and Rewind I didn't enjoy too much, but it's growing on me. Rewind is actually growing on me. We'll see what happens in the second weekend, but I think the face-off maps are my absolute favorite. I love the super small maps that aren't Rust, they aren't Shipment or whatever. They're different maps that are still small but still very approachable. You can still do a lot of different things around there. The last like day or two of the beta,
a small map that isn't Rust or Shipment, what?
Yeah, bro, they lose their minds.
Can you imagine?
You know what I'm saying? It's out of comprehension. They don't get it, but they were fantastic. I love the layouts of them. I love that there's no score streaks or anything on it. It's just straight gunplay, get to it, action. I love it. I hated that one map. No, I love that one map that's like the mine carts or whatever. I forget the name of it, but I hated the fact that people were head camping in the little mine carts, so I just kept throwing grenades in there. That's a skill thing. People are gonna camp how they camp. But overall, love the face-off maps. Fantastic. I really do enjoy the just the tighter, straight to the action, not too many lanes to worry about. Just shoot it out. I love it. It reminds me more of like arena style games. You know what I'm saying? Just like get straight to the shooting. It's not craziness, not a crazy amount of like buy into it. Just get in, do what you got to do. You know what I mean? We'll see how the spawns pick up in the second weekend. I saw a clip that didn't look too great on one of the face-off maps, but we'll see how the spawns pick up and continue. I like the perks. I like the progression. The guns felt really good. The Jackal PDW was overpowered, but they nerfed that. But I was using it too for a little bit. I love the C9. The C9 will never let me down. A C9 MP5K, whatever you want to call it. All the variants of that gun throughout the years have been solid, so that was really cool. The XM4 was really good. Honestly, most of those guns were really solid. I think with more attachments, you'll make them more powerful. Even the marksman rifle that was there, the 3-round burst one. I'm a 3-round burst whore. I love 3-round burst guns. That's just how I am. And even then, it's a little bit of a skill gap to use, because sometimes you got to go chest and above and really aim when you do it. When you're on, you're knocking people out in one burst, and I was really enjoying that. So the guns, the perks felt pretty balanced. I didn't know that if you matched up certain perk like tiers, you'll get an extra boost with some of them. Like you get a recon boost, like you can see people through walls when you spawn for a couple of seconds and stuff. I didn't know if you matched up those like the perk shapes, you get an extra one, which was news to me until like late in the beta. But I think that's a very, very dope change that will very, very much balance out some of the decisions people make with their perks. Because again, at some point everybody's gonna run Ghost Gung Ho or Ghost Double Time, Flakjack or whatever, you know what I'm saying, the usual combinations of meta perks that people run. But I think this adds a lot more choice that will split up the perks, so people won't obviously go for the meta ones all the time. And you know, maybe they'll go into some boosts, maybe we'll see a bit more variety, maybe we'll see people go for those things to have a boost, and it won't be that overpowered of a combination. So I was loving everything I was seeing from the beta. I was enjoying it to the fullest, and I can't wait to get in there weekend 2. I'm gonna play some more Black with Wukong today, but tonight I'm probably gonna get into the beta again. I will see what everybody else is on. I told Charles we got to shoot it up as well, but I think so far this multiplayer is really gonna hit. I think it is. I'm very happy because it's in line with the prediction that we were saying, that again, if there's anybody who's gonna add some freshness to this game and add some fun, it's Treyarch. Treyarch is going to be the ones to do it and inject that in the Call of Duty franchise. And of course, the takedowns are hilarious. The hostage situation is the most funniest thing we've seen in this past 2 weeks.
It is the greatest thing. It's so damn funny. I think I grabbed somebody, started clapping cheeks, and then I turned around and shot his homie. I was like, damn, this has to be the worst thing ever. Even when you get grabbed, you're like, oh no, please.
That actually makes me want to turn on my comms. That actually makes me want to turn on my mic. Just
bro,
like,
isn't that crazy? Where you're just like, I never want to turn on my fucking my mic. But this might make it worth it. It might, because it's just funny as hell.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
Like,
I think we played a match where I think it was the match with the mansion, right? And y'all were on the wall, the catwalk, the walkway in between the 2 houses, and you had one, and then Charles had one. Y'all was talking crap to both of them while y'all was having a hostage. Bro. I was dying, bro. It just creates so many funny moments, man.
Dog. I remember we were on the catwalk and I grabbed them on the thing and he was like, dog, you hitting it over the balcony? I'm like, yes, sir. And then he got, it's so silly. I don't even think I killed the guy, but he walked away worse than than before that. I promise you, the mental strain is on.
Bro,
it's cooked.
It's so serious, man. But again, you're gonna run into the movement horrors or whatever. You could talk about the skill-based matchmaking. Just stop being a bitch and play the game. It is what it is.
That's the beauty about skill-based matchmaking, is that if you can't handle that, you won't for long. You know what I'm saying? Like if you get 3 games with movement horrors, you're gonna get put in whacker games, which is great. Like that's why I don't have a problem with it. It's like I don't want to have to run into dudes who are doing crazy 360 no scopes, like hitting me from fucking dive shot snipes. I don't want that. So yeah, give me the easy shit, please give me the easy shit.
And again, most of these guys on Call of Duty want to clip feed and do all this stuff like the olden days, and I'm like, bro, if you're gonna clip feed, like you can do it, but you just gotta play smarter about it in these smarter lobbies. And if you're playing objective based game modes, there's opportunities for you. You just gotta play smarter. That just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like they already did a whole like independent study about less SBMM into more, and like what that does to the player base and stuff. I don't want to be stranded with you dudes. I want the casual people in there too. I want everybody in there. You know what I'm saying? Just to enjoy themselves and have a good time at their levels. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to have a VPN to go enjoy myself with this game. I'm just gonna play it. You know, and whoever wins. It is what it is. I'm gonna enjoy myself one way or another. But in total, Black Ops 6 so far has been impressing me. It's been impressing me, and I think it's gonna be a really, really big turnaround for when it fully drops. I think people are gonna be into this one. I think it's gonna turn the public perception back up to a 9 or a 10 for Call of Duty in terms of excitement and what comes of it, man. Just gonna make sure you keep the cheaters out and you keep things to a minimum. You gotta do as best you can with the content and the cheaters, and everything else will fall into place.
No, for sure. Like, and we haven't even touched zombies. That's what's crazy.
Zombies gonna be
this is just multiplayer. Like I'm excited for zombies. I can't wait to tap in.
Facts, man. Back to round based shit. It's gonna be dope.
Treyarch saving Call of Duty. It's almost like, oh wow. Actually, it's just regular life at this point.
Yeah,
that is just the way it is.
It's happened before multiple times. Like, hey man, it is what it is, man. But shout outs to Black Ops 6. We can move on here. We can talk about Crimson Desert. We got a bit more details talking about Crimson Desert over the past week or so. I think it was the China Joy, like that's one I got to keep my radar on for now. The China Joy keynote conference, whatever you want to call it. There's so much stuff in this Crimson Desert game it's insane. Again, think about the scale of like a Dragon's Dogma and the kind of interactability of Dragon's Dogma, Witcher 3 scale. I mean, open world action adventure, of course. Yeah, horse riding, a wanted system, fishing, arm wrestling, creature hunting, petting damn dog, and climb buildings, so many weapons, flying with different, you know, like mounts and stuff, dragons, so many different bosses, skydiving. There's so much stuff, and it's gonna be releasing apparently spring 2025. So I mean, we got some more details about it. How do you feel about what you're seeing?
It looks great. I think it's gonna be. I'm actually really excited about this game now. At first I didn't believe what I was watching, but it looks like, and this is what I mean, man. Is like these companies are pushing the envelope, bro. They're quite literally being like, "Oh, y'all just making the same old game 20." Like, because the thing is, like, seeing them do it really bugs me, because it's like, why aren't we at that level yet? And it doesn't make sense, right? Like, why are we like? Why is it that Assassin's Creed from Origin to Valhalla feel like the same fucking game? Why is it that Far Cry 4 through 6 don't really feel that much different? Why is that? And it's like, are you guys trying to push the envelope, or are you guys just trying to recreate what you did with the first one, you know? And that's what I like about these other companies, that I feels like they're trying, you know? It feels like they're like, yo, what if we did this in the game? And they're like, yeah, why not? Let's see what happens. Like, this game looks sick, and I thought and these games look unreal. And after playing Wukong is actually, like, I feel like one of the 4 horsemen of our apocalypse, because when that game came out, when I saw that game, I'm like, nah, it's not real. It makes no way does it look like that. It's impossible for a game to look like that. It's literally happened 3 times before. It's happened 3 times at this stage. Again, yeah, I think we're on the same page with these ones. It's Black Myth Wukong. We were like, okay, no way, that's not a real game. And then we saw it was real. Phantom Blade Zero, we were like, nah, this is not a real game. This is not the sword play is not real. There's no way. And it was real. The gameplay showed it. And this one, I'm like, holy shit. There's no way you're skydiving right into a boss battle and stuff, doing all this crazy shit, and it's real. Yeah, like they're actually over there working. Like, it feels like them boys is over there trying to make this shit work. And that's the beauty of it, is like, over here we're just like, let's find out what works, and they're over there like, let's make this work. And if this game hits my hands and it is heat the way Wukong was heat when I grabbed it, yeah, it's kind of cooked on this side. I don't know. Big shilling. The West, you got work to do, man. The West, you got work to do, man. Listen, China got their studios going through. Korea got their studios coming through. Japan, of course, they're always on their usual, man. I'm just saying, competition really in there, bro. Competition really in there. So I'm everything I've seen from Crimson Desert so far, I'm like, this is something I just want to get lost in. This is one of them, like, I almost don't care what the story is. I really almost don't. I want to know what it is at some point, but I just right now I just don't care, because that gameplay looks really, really good. I just want to just get lost. Yeah, no, I personally, I don't care. That shit just looks fun. Whatever it is, like, even with Wukong, I normally do this. I look up things about games that I'm playing to not feel like I am behind or anything, or like I don't want to waste time. Wukong is a game where I don't look anything up, even though I think it'd be a game that where looking something up would be very beneficial, because there is no mini map. Yeah. Wukong is a game where I'm like, I'd rather just explore and just because fighting is so fun. I'll explore and beat up the same 8 guys 20 times to double check and make sure that I didn't leave something in this area before I just straight up look something up. And that's not something I can say for a game, for some of the games that I've played in previous history, where I'm like, yeah, I don't got time for this. Yeah, nah, understandable. But yeah, I'm super excited to see more of Crimson Desert. And if it really drops spring, bro, 2025, we're in for it, bro. And this is going to be one of those big reasons why. Yeah, honestly, like it looks like 2025 is it going to be a crazy year. And if any of these games can make waves in a year where it feels like it's a year for we're the West, right? I keep forgetting. Yes. If any of these Eastern games make more noise than some of the games in the West, I don't know, bro. Like, it should be a slam dunk year for us, really. We got GTA, like everything. It should be a slam dunk year for us, bro. But I can easily see us losing the Thunder, because we're over here worried about the bottom line and not the actual games. These games so good. You got one here talking like this. It's the Olympics, bro. You got him talking like it's real turf going on, bro.
This
bro,
is
I'm
different.
telling you, it's a war, bro. Like if we really want to continue our quote unquote dominance, because don't get me wrong, Japan is the mecca for video games. They will never, we're never gonna pretend like they don't have a chokehold on a lot of the shit, right? But I felt like the States, I feel like our side, and of course there's like, you know, these games aren't all developed in the United States, right? But it's like, when I think of Ubisoft, I think of like, if I'm not mistaken, Ubisoft is an American company, or am I tripping?
I thought they were a French company.
Are they French?
Yeah.
Oh, they're not even the biggest company, to be honest. They don't really have the good track record, to be honest with you. But like when I think of like EAs, I think of fucking Rockstar. Like I'm thinking of like us on this side, Xbox and everything under it now.
Yeah.
Like, what are we competing with?
Listen,
like, and then we got companies that I never heard of dropping quality from people who've been in the industry for years.
Hey man,
come on.
Hey, listen, I'm just saying the game needs some fresh faces, man. I welcome this. I want good games at the end of the game. At the end of the day, I want good games. And if y'all not willing to make good games, if you're not willing to make that a priority, move the hell out the way so the people that are doing that can shine. That's all I'm saying. If
we don't got time for the bullshit.
If you ain't in it for the play, get out the way. That's all I'm saying. That's really it. Man. But speaking of play, let's talk about a very special report. I wanted to give you some time to talk about this. It's been a couple of days now. And you were so gracious in kind of stopping your campaign to speak with us today as well. Space Marine 2 Warhammer 40,000. The game is out. It's been coming out some really rave reviews, some really, really good reception about the experience. It's been 13 years in the making since the first. Custodian, it's been a very long time for you, my friend, and I think it's time we give you the floor. Just talk about how you're receiving this game, how you feel about it, what you've been experiencing so far. Space Marine 2, talk to me.
So the game is actually ass. No, I'm kidding.
That's crazy. That's crazy. This is terrible. Like, what?
No, so I had some hands-on with it. I literally am waiting for my boy to get out of work to play more today, hopefully. But I played the first one way back in the day, and then I played it again on stream. And but both times I played them before other people were, not before, but after people were on it. Like I found this, it was kind of like a game that's kind of been abandoned, but it was like years after the game came out that I played it. And I enjoyed the game. There were certain things that I felt like were whatever, and I did not expect the second one to be as good. So like one of my biggest gripes with the first game was that like it had a good combination of melee and gunplay, but it never felt like I needed to really be good at both. Like I could either shoot my way out or I could fight my way out. So I would just stick to shooting my way out most 9 times out of 10. And if I needed to heal, I would do an execution to get my health back up, right? That was just how I decided to play the game, and it was cool. It was a cool play style. This game said you can't not be good at both. If you want to be a true warrior, you want to be a true fucking space marine, you gotta be good at both. And the reason for that is because they added a parry system. So now there's like, you can parry melee attacks. And they made it so that certain attacks, you have to parry them or you're gonna get hit with some big damage. On top of that, there's attacks you cannot parry, so you have to either dodge them. So it's, instead of me just sitting in the back and just absolutely shooting every single thing in front of me, there's gonna get to a point where they run up on me and I'm gonna have to pull out the chainsaw sword and start, you know, getting into some action, start chopping them up. And I didn't think this game was gonna be as fun as it was, but even with like the gun strikes, so in the game there's like, you get a shield meter and then your health. Your health does not regenerate. The only way for your health to regenerate is if you find a health pack and you use it, and it gives you about like 50% HP. It's cool. I'm playing it on not Angel of Death, but the second to last difficulty. That's what, when I was reading the difficulty, they said this is the way it was intended to be played. I can't imagine playing this game any other way, because while the other difficulty would be easier, and when you're playing it in this difficulty, one mistake won't kill you, but it will put you at a very big disadvantage. Like if I'm over here not paying attention, I could lose half my health in an instant, and I'll be able to like break free, you know, lock in. But there have been times where like I'll miss a parry and boom, there goes my health. But back to the way the health and armor system is set up. You get shields that are like divided into sections. So like I have like in the campaign 2 shields, right? And it breaks like a regular health bar, but the reason they're divided is because if you do a gun strike is when you do a perfect dodge, you get a crosshair on the enemy's head. And if you melee, I think if you shoot while like facing that direction, he will just automatically lock in and just blast them, and it does a big damage. And for the smaller enemies, it'll just straight up kill them. But it also gives you armor, right? And that's the important thing. If you're ever dying in this game, the best thing to do is actually be more aggressive, because you want to get those gun strikes so you can get your ammo, so you can get your shields back. You want to do those executions so you can get your shields back, because when you do an execution, you're invulnerable and you're going to get some shields at the end of it, and it pushes them back a little bit because you're fighting a swarm. And I truly did not expect when they were talking about the swarm mechanic. I'm like, okay, whatever. They got a bunch of shit on my screen. Oh, cool, a bunch of shit on my screen. That's awesome. Like, I really didn't think, it didn't really register to me what they meant. They're like, no, you're gonna be fighting swarms. When they said that shit, I'm like, okay, I'll fight like a group and then they'll dissipate or whatever. I think it was like the second mission. There was a big ass horde running down this mountain, like a lot of them. And I'm like, oh my God, that's a lot of aliens. But in most other games, you would see that, but those aren't the ones that you're not going to fight every single one.
Like some rendered, some not, some like whatever.
Yeah. Like they're just there to give you the idea of what's going on. Like I wasn't expecting them all to come towards me. They all came towards me, and I'm like, wait, and like you would like literally see them like piling up. Like you seen World War Z where they have like all the zombies pile up to get above walls and stuff like that. Like that's what it was like, is like they would just like start piling up at the bottom of wherever you are and then start climbing up to get to you. So you're over here just shooting down this big ass fucking fat ass horde of them, but then on the other side there's another horde building up and then getting towards you. And then I'm over here like I'm trying not to die, and I look over at the mountain and there's still more. Like they're still coming. So me and my boy are just literally wasting all of our bullets, slicing, dicing, like cooking. And then I see in the mountain, I start seeing that they stopped, but there were still a bunch left. So once we killed every single one of them, we're like, oh shit, that was it. But I was sitting there like, I've never seen that in a game, right? Like I've never seen them be like, every single enemy you see on this screen is going to come and try to kill you. And we're not gonna let you get away. Like you have to fight them. You can't not fight them.
So you not low, bro.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, but it really does give you the feeling of being an ultramarine. It really does, because you're sitting there like, oh, I just murdered thousands of them on one mission. Not even the full mission, just a part of the mission. It's not, and it wasn't like the part that I'm talking about wasn't even like, oh, we're waiting for extraction. Like no, they were like, we gotta go over there, but they're coming here. So they're like, yo, defend this area. All right, cool. Now go over there, because we thinned out. They literally said we've opened up a small opening after killing like 8,000 fucking aliens, and they're like, let's move forward. So we gotta push into where the fuck all that shit just came from. It's crazy as shit. It is literally, it's an experience I can't really even put into words, because if you're a fan of Warhammer and you know about the fucking, I think it's the Tyranids. My brain is mush today.
Definitely Tyranids.
You're walking out and seeing these fucking hordes, or like there's this one mission where we walked out and it was just like a bunch of flying motherfuckers, and the fucking sky is goddamn near full of the shit.
Jeez.
And you're like, my God, bro, when does this shit end? But that's the point. It's about war. Your art is war. Your service will be done when you are dead. Like we are here to fucking murder, and it is fucking, it's just sick. Like it's just a sick ass game. The gunplay and combat is so good because of the mix of having to know both, right? If you have good aim, it's great. You can take out the motherfuckers who are a far distance from you, but the people who have melee and will block your bullets, like you got to go in there and you got to scrap with them. So you got to make sure, like, every time I'm fighting melee, I'm looking around to see if I have to shoot somebody from a distance or make sure that like I'm not in the way of a sniper. And it's very interesting. We're like, oh, my boy's about to get attacked. Let me put some bullets into the guy over there to make sure he's okay. But then I gotta also make sure I'm not getting jumped on, because if you're in the back just shooting, the aliens will just run up to you. They'll run up to you. Some of them will grab you if you're not parrying correctly. Like they will literally just grab you and start fucking your face up. And then the other ones will just pull up on you and start surrounding you, and then you're really cooked. Yeah. And you also have to weave in heavy attacks as well, because some of them they will block your attacks. Like you have to constantly be like cycling through and remembering what you've learned, because it's all going to be important. And that's what I think I really like about the game, is that every single tool you have is important. You only get 3 grenades. You best use those 3 grenades to the best of their ability, because it's important. You gotta manage. You gotta make sure if you can't dodge the attack. I mean, if you can't counter the attack, you better dodge that shit. But if you dodge too much on things that you really can't, like, because the dodging is okay, but it's not going to save you every single time. Like you can't just get away with just spam dodging everything, because they have fucking range with these jumps. They will attack you. So parrying is probably better, or fucking straight up attacking them might just be better. It is fun. I will say this though, if you're not playing it on a higher difficulty, your experience might be different from mine, because that's what when I was playing this, I was having a lot of fun, because there were moments where you get out of fights, I would have like no armor, and my armor would take forever. Like when my armor breaks in the middle of a fight, my armor isn't going to come back until the fight's over. That's how delayed the armor regen is at the third difficulty. Like you're literally in there like, all right, well, I'm gonna have to either get an execution or I'm gonna have to get a gun strike, because I'm not getting this armor back. Or if your health goes low, like that's it. You have low. There's been moments where me and Justin were walking around. He didn't have no health. Like I'm like, yo, there's a syringe over here, bro. You better grab it, because we only got 2 shields, and you're looking a little suspicious right now, dog. You're looking like you're gonna go down any minute. Like it's a lot, but it's so fun, and the game is it's just epic. That's the best way to describe the game. Is just epic. You just feel like you are in this war, and you've dedicated your life to this. The multiplayer, definitely a really, really fun time. I like it because it's not like a twitchy shooter, right? Because everybody's slow as fuck. You're walking tanks, so like I'm not gonna really miss shots unless the gun itself has bad accuracy, because there's some guns that have that, so you want to get closer to the distance. But if you're straight up walking around like a big ass tank, you're not gonna really miss shots. So it's all about comms, it's all about map knowledge, and it's about using your abilities to the best of your abilities. Like there's this one dude who had a sniper, and another dude who was an assault pack. He was cooking us because assault dude was jump in, but the sniper's always looking at him, making sure that he's good, shooting at us, and we had no way of going about it. So somebody else picked up the dude with a grapple hook and started like hooking the sniper, putting the dude with the jetpack in a worse position. And it's I guess the best way to describe it is like it's kind of like an old man type of multiplayer, right? Like you're not the twitchy shooter. You got some movement, but it's nothing crazy. But it's more about
this ain't no epilepsy shooter, gang. You better lock in.
Like the kids who can hit the 360 like no scopes on COD on the new beta, like doing all the crazy movement and the dashing and shit. That's not happening here. You gotta really know what you're doing. And it's like it's fun. It's a lot of fun. The only thing I haven't played were the secondary mode, the co-op mode that isn't tied to the campaign. But I'm assuming it is similar to the multiplayer and the campaign mode, where you're essentially fighting the monsters, but you get to choose your loadout. And when you're playing co-op in the campaign mode, I believe the person who's playing co-op can choose their ultimate, because like the main character has to use Titus's ult. Like everybody has like a battle ability or whatever, like an ultimate is what I would call it. Titus's gives him health regen, so like he'll just like pop it, he'll do more damage, and he'll get health regen. But then you have people who will scan, and the scan does more damage to people who get scanned, so they'll receive more damage when you shoot at them. There's somebody who has like a banner that drops that I believe gives you shields. Another person who, like the sniper, can go invisible and like move around without being seen. And I think the dude with the minigun, he has a frontal shield in front of him, so like incoming damage gets doesn't go through. Like there's ways of building your character, And the I haven't unlocked a bunch of stuff, but the customization options are there. If you're a fan of Warhammer, you're gonna be geeked because you're gonna be like, oh, I could be the Iron Hands, I could be the Salamanders, like I could really be these different factions. Like it's sick, it's pretty sick. So hands down, this game, when they said it was an 8, I was like, interesting. 8s to me can vary. I think it should be like an 8.5 if we're being honest, but I feel like the 0.5 system has really been going away. I think personally, to me, from what I've played, it would be an 8.5 because when I think of 8, I think of something more akin to the first game where I think that game was an 8, but this game has so much love, care, quality built in that I just can't sit here and be like, nah, it's just an 8. I think it's an 8.5. If you're a fan of Warhammer, though, it's definitely a 9, maybe even a 9.5, depending on what brings you here. You know, I think it's a solid 9 in my opinion. I've been having a lot of fun with it. Every moment I'm not playing it, I'm pissed because my friend isn't online. And I said we said we would beat the game together, so I'm waiting for him. But dog, it is so fucking good. Like I cannot stop talking about how good this game is. I'm happy. This is exactly what I would have wanted. Truly. Good.
I hear it. And I will be playing the game when it fully releases on the 9th. It was just an early access for people who bought certain editions and got codes and all stuff like that. But that was your Custodian report with Custodian Win.
Yeah. I cannot recommend this game enough.
Word, definitely. I'm gonna try my hand, bro, because it looks super fun when you were playing through it and stuff. So listen, man, big ups. 13 years in the making. I'm glad it's been worth it so far.
Yeah, honestly. No, if you're playing it and you ever like, yo, I need some help, or I'm playing the campaign, if you want to slide through, let me know, because I'll replay those missions, because even the missions that I beat, like I am down to replay that shit again. I have so much fun with that game. And the content calendar looks stacked. Like it's gonna, they're cooking. They are cooking.
I saw they had they have cosmetic stuff on the premium battle pass or whatever, but they have like new modes, new hordes or whatever. Like there's a bunch of stuff that they said they were gonna drop like periodically throughout the year. So I'm like, bro, it's crazy work. It's crazy work. You think it gets nominated for some awards at the Game Awards this year?
I would want it to, but we still have such a packed year. I think it could. I don't know if narrative wise it would. I think narrative is really cool, but I think if you're not a fan of Warhammer, you're gonna be like, oh, this is kind of cut and dry. Like I don't think that the story is so crazy that I'm like, yo, yeah, this is peak storytelling. But I do think I think it gets nominated minimum. If it wins an award, I'll be shocked. But I do think nominations for sure.
I think it's definitely
yeah.
100% action game shoo-in. It's definitely a nomination at least.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I can see action game, maybe, because I think it's action adventure. I'm trying to think of the what you would call
action adventure, best multiplayer game, best it's a shooting game, best shooter. Is also in there. I think he'll get a nomination for shooter. I think
I think if it's not nominated, then I'm gonna be like surprised. I won't be crazy surprised, but I'd be like, man, this is corny. Yeah. But I think this game deserves a lot of love.
Yeah, nah. Like so far, man. Yeah, it's been cooking, bro. The Emperor will be pleased.
No, the Emperor is fucking geeked right now.
I hear it, man. And for the last topic of today, we just had a quick note on PlayStation. There was a conversation brewing about Sony not having enough original IPs. And I know that sounded crazy off first rip. And I was like, wow, that's a wild thing to fucking say. And everybody was in uproar. And again, everybody on Twitter and all social media has been like, no, you guys don't. No. And I was trying to find the quote of what really was going down so we can get the best, read on it and then talk about it from there. And again, the quote, we have it here. It was Sony CFO Hiroki Totoki. He was talking in the Financial Times. There was a quote here that stated, whether it's for games, films, or anime, we don't have that much IP that we fostered from the beginning. We're lacking the early phase of IP, and that's an issue for us. End quote. Totoki added that Sony as a whole has been better at finding new audiences for existing popular IPs and thinks that the company won't grow without creating content from scratch for higher returns. Again, they're thinking new IPs certainly definitely welcome, but you know, they're just thinking they're lacking the early phase of IP.
Interesting.
How are you feeling about that statement? Does that help? They contextualize things, or maybe put a little bit less heat off of them for what they said? Or you think you're still in the same boat as everybody else has been talking over the past couple of days? Like, no, do we have IP? You're insane.
No, I think what he's saying isn't wrong. I think there's a lot, but I also think one of the issues is that, like, you guys have ones that you have fostered and you kind of let go. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like, you guys let Infamous go. Crash Bandicoot is Activision now. Like, you let that shit go.
Yeah, let that die. But that's the point.
Yeah.
Sorry, sorry. I'm sorry. I was hater. I'm hating them, man.
No, you're right. Like, there's a lot of IP that I feel like they do something, it's kind of, it works, or it'll be enjoy, people will fuck with it, and then they're just like, yeah, we're done. Like, remember, I saw one of the people like list all these games, and one of them was like Tearaway, and that shit just like unlocked. Yeah, I'm like, I forgot about that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like that. But like, y'all just be doing shit, and it don't like. And I think it's similar to what happened with Concord, where like y'all did it, and you're just like, nah, it's not working out the way we want it to, so it's cooked. It's like, yeah, when you put it like that, when you let shit like that just go away, yeah, it is cooked, brother. It very much is cooked.
See, and I love when things tie together. I love when things come together, bro. Everything relates to everything. So this is my thing. I get what he's saying about, you know, we haven't fostered these IPs in the way that we wanted. We're lacking that early phase of IP in the way that we want. I think personally, again, this deals with films, anime, this deals with stuff beyond gaming, including gaming and everything beyond it. I think that they keep thinking in this omni-channel way about games, about franchise and IP that typically start in the gaming side of things, and they want to give everything the Last of Us treatment. I think that's where their head's at. They want to get omni-channel IPs that are successful, and you know, they transcend the bounds of gaming. And sometimes, and especially now, I feel like their mind state is to get everything in the biggest AAA blockbuster experience that they possibly can, so it can easily translate out to these other points. And that's what we talked about earlier. That's what's getting everybody caught up at this point in the industry, because they're trying to make these big blockbustery things that sometimes may follow trends, or just be, you know, just kind of on the track things that people aren't taking to, and they don't have either they flop, or they just don't get the attention that Sony would have wanted off the bat, and then they run into problems. It's tough to do everything in that way, because people might get tired of it. You know, if they scale certain things back, they might have more license to try more new IPs. If it was in that AA kind of space, for AA becomes AAA in this current day and age, maybe they would have more room to try and bring back older IPs, or try brand new IPs and stuff like that, and really get things flowing, to give yourself a little bit more wiggle room for trial and error. You know, if a game does well but it doesn't create enough to make an IP, whatever, you can move on to the next project. It was insular. You could have did that. You didn't spend too much money. You had that. You got, either you recouped your money back, you were close, blah blah, move on. They keep investing in these huge projects off of big, you know, like IPs that nobody's heard before, but they give it I mean, apparently so. That's what some of the reports are suggesting. Concord was mad expensive, and they were giving it that, like, I'm not saying Last of Us level type thing, but there was a lot of investment that went towards it. They were trying to make it a top line, you know, one of the big faces of the IP. It's got its own episode in Secret Level, for Christ's sake. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got too much bearing on that. They had too much bearing, because they started too far. They're thinking blockbuster in the beginning, when nobody even knows what the IP is yet and whether they like it or not. So scaling back to be a bit more AA in scope with some of these games, some of these IPs that start as games, would be a lot more fruitful, because you don't know how people are going to receive it. So kind of giving a bit more of a measured step forward into the market probably would help. It would. But that's one fold of the problem. I understand what he's saying, and I'm not that mad at it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not that mad. He wants to get new IPs in there. They want to get there. I want new IPs. But this is what I'm saying. I kind of also agree with the other point. You let so many IPs die. Some of them might as well be brand new. And I promise you, you have a leg up with some of these things. You can make a AA game really right now. If they brought back Jack today in a AA format, the old people will like it. And if it's a platformer into the same level that Astrobot was, again, like how the old games were, if it was that to that quality standard and people really liked it, you could have made another Jack. You could have really brought back another Jack IP. You could have did a Jack movie or whatever, which you probably had in shot testing or whatever, but it just went under because I didn't have enough to support it, blah blah blah. Do you remember that it was coming out with a Sly Cooper movie? You remember that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it just disappeared. Like, there's just not enough jumps to make it. I think they dropped game, which was good. They dropped the Thieves in Time and stuff like that was good, but it's just not enough proper runway for those things. So they just kind of left it to die, and the things that were their most popular, then they fostered those. But I'm like, I think there's got to be some admission of fault on their end, because they're not setting up some of these IPs in the right conditions. You know what I'm saying? I think the momentum of these games already was kind of what lent itself to making them big blockbuster IPs. Again, God of War, Last of Us, not Horizon. I'm sorry, I can't put Horizon in. I'm sorry, guys. You know what I'm saying? But at least you're trying to keep that treatment with a TV show that got canceled or whatever, and this and the third, and putting in Lego. I think they're trying to put everything through that same mode to keep basically spawning more Sony cash cows, Sony IPs that transcend everything, that rack up money in every medium that they touch. And they can't all be like that. I don't think they all can be like that. Going in with that mentality, sometimes I feel like it's turning in results that are, that is going to kick most of these IPs to the wayside. And new IPs they're going to have a tough time to survive than some that you already knew. It's tough. This relates back to the thing we talked about Concord. You don't need to go full Monty with some of these things. You can start in an incubation phase, do a small little thing, and see how people receive it, and then move from there. I know it might be a little bit longer for your planning, but I promise you, there's going to be a lot more staying power if there's at least a little bit more of a measured step, instead of trying to go full bore and trying to see it everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And you won't end up with having a game in a TV show, but no game exists for that franchise. You know what I'm saying? It's wild. It's wild.
No, it's sad, but like, it's just sad to see, because I think Horizon would have been a great AA title. I think Horizon and I think they have a dedicated fan base, but I think what a lot of people don't like is that Horizon gets pushed as if it was the next big thing.
You know what I mean? Again, I have nothing against Horizon. I think Horizon is a solid series, but it's like you is getting the treatment as if it's one of the gods of the game right now, one of the all-stars. But like, bro, I don't think you're making the second team. Not even. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I can't say definitively there's something that y'all do that's better than anybody else in the space. I can't do it. I can't say that outright. But it's just like, bro, temper expectations. You gotta temper expectations and measure your scope, because you can have a lot more success if everything wasn't pushed to the hilt to find more cash cows. That's just Sony's thing. That's for me. And I'll still be mad. I'm still gonna be mad, because I get fostering new IPs. I get that. But you could literally blindfold yourself and dip a hand into all the dead IPs you had and drop a AA game, a decent scoped game with any of those old IPs, and you will have so much more success. I promise you. Letting Infamous die, Jack and Dexter die, Sly Cooper die, like 80 other things die, I just think it's kind of wild. And they're like, yo, we just don't have enough IPs. I think that statement is wild. I understand they want to transcend, but you have a lot of stuff that you can transcend with if you just look inward a little bit. Yeah. Abandoning other things is, I mean, what do you want, bro? What more do you want? You already have some things that you're rolling with. You have to have some perspective over everything. You cannot turn everything into a cash cow across mediums, because not everybody's going to receive it that way. But if you temper expectations and actually take time to bring things up in the right way, not in that model where everything has to be a smash hit out the gate like that. Focus on making a good game first with good IP, and then maybe everything else will roll in. I mean, listen, you don't want me to go through the names again. Killzone, fucking Ape Escape, Jack and Daxter, PlayStation All Stars' own IP in and of itself. You know what I'm saying? Gravity Rush died. I mean, like, it's all there. It's all there. I'm cool with making new IP as well. I get that, but it's funny that they don't have enough original IP when they let so many die, and they just decided to focus on those that had enough potential to get over the line and become cash cows. That was the thing for me.
Yeah. They let a lot of shit die, and it's funny when you look at it, because I remember, like, I used to have this issue with Nintendo, because I'm a huge Star Fox fan. I'm like, man, when am I gonna get another Star Fox game? But they don't really let too many of their IPs die, or they don't really let it fall to the wayside for too long. They'll always like bring it back if need be. PlayStation just straight up doesn't. Like, they're just like, ah, man, we gotta think of something new, something exciting. And it's like, while yes, new and exciting is fun, you could get away. Like, imagine if Concord was a hero shooter based in the Jak and Daxter universe.
Bro,
it would have already gotten way more spins. And not to say that I would have wanted them to do that. Like, I would have wanted them to compromise their idea.
Yeah, because
it's just like small shit like that.
Yeah, I have my gripes with nostalgia, but
for sure.
I actually have my gripes with nostalgia, but again, with a lot of these IPs in Sony's specific context, with so many IPs and franchises that you've left dead, you left for dead, and now they have these complaints trying to force new IPs off of lazy marketing and all this stuff like that, when you could have literally taken the time to build a solid game or give it to a team who would take care of it. Like, I'm not saying give Jak and Daxter the team of Sobe, but give Jak and Daxter and some of these dead IPs to the teams that really can bring it back to life, and then see what happens. Again, I can bet you money there's gonna be some people at Sucker Punch are like, yo, I would love to work on Infamous again. I think that would be really cool. I think that would be dope. But they can't, because they're stuck in Ghost of Tsushima. Not to say that I don't want Ghost of Tsushima, because that's one of the best new IPs of the past 10 years. But the fact is, there's no room to bring these IPs back, because Sony wants everything in the biggest AAA blockbuster way. They want another Last of Us franchise. They want another God of War on Amazon. They want what's it called? What's one of these damn shows? Again, a Ghost of Tsushima TV show with Chad Stahelski directing and shit like that. They want omni-channel. They want everything. And sometimes you need to just start with making a good game and then seeing where it goes. And if it doesn't go anywhere, at least you made a good game. They're going in with that mindset of, we want to dominate every lane of media, instead of, we just want to make good games and we want to make good projects first. We want to make good content first and foremost. The perspective is kind of obscuring the potential in the IPs that they're leaving behind for dead. That's really it. At least that's what I think. I don't know. But listen, that's all the notes we had. Damn, that's been a lot. That was a lot of talking. When anything that we might have missed?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, neither do I. I want to get back to Black Myth Wukong and play Black Ops. There's too many games, so we're gonna hurry up and get the hell out of here. Closing notes, Win.
Drink your water, play your games. Also, actually really important, something that I've learned since going back to work and having less time to play games. Live your outdoor life. You know what I'm saying? Go out. Don't stay inside all day.
Touch grass.
And it's not even me trying to play anybody. Like, you know, I love staying. Listen, all day today I'm gonna be playing games indoors. But when you don't have the context of the real world, when you don't have the context of other shit in life, you really start nitpicking things in the games that you enjoy just because you're miserable about something else. You may like. The DEIs may not be why you don't enjoy this game. You may be depressed and not enjoy games, period. Like, you just may have your own internal problems that you need to fight through. And it's something that is serious that you need to work on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry, but like, it's really hard for me to care about like small issues in the games that I'm playing when I just got out of work and I'm just trying to enjoy the rest of my day. I'ma enjoy this shit. All right, don't get me. I'ma have fun. So if you're over here getting a brand spanking new game with all the works and everybody's like, yo, this John is gas, and you want to find something wrong with it. If you gotta find something wrong with your games, you have too much time on your hands. You need something else to do. You need something productive to do. Because come on, bro. Life is short and you spending it all day inside. Go outside, drink your water, play your games. but also live your life.
Honestly, man. My closing notes, make sure you rate this podcast 5 stars on all platforms. Make sure you go subscribe, like, comment. Let us know what you thought about all the stories this week. Let us know who you want to see on the podcast as well. This fall, we're getting back into the groove of all these guests and people that we want to see and talk to and be through. Be on the lookout for some dope stuff that we got on the way, man. Listen, this podcast ain't going nowhere. It's going getting bigger. It's only getting better. These numbers going to grow. This community is going to grow. We are on people's asses from 2024 going into 2025 into the end of time, baby. So make sure, again, go drink water, do your thing. And I'm gonna take a card out of my good friend's book. Go for a walk, man. Go for a walk. Go for a walk, y'all. Really, truly. And then when you're done taking that walk, come back and play some games. So that's all we got for this episode of No Cooldown Podcast. And we are out of here. Peace.